The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig!
damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this LDS Thursday, September 21st, 2023. This sports program starts now.
Football
is happening tonight. Week 3 of the NFL season will be kicking off as the Giants will take on the San Francisco 49ers as 10.5-point dogs. We'll be breaking that down for the next 3 hours, all the different angles and gambles and things that we could potentially talk about, as Christian McCaffrey might go on to have 15 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Giants without Saquon Barkley will be able to get the upset of all upsets to kick off week 3 of this NFL season that we know is going to be spectacular. Now, I don't even want to dive into what the college football slate looks like on Saturday.
Man.
Okay, we're in for it now. The next 4 days of football are about to be glorious. Let's enjoy all of it. Hey, why is it LDS Thursday? Well, it's not because the talks table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Sweet cat shirt, Connor.
Yeah, if it was LSD Thursday, maybe the shirt would have played.
Oh, yeah, because we're tripping because the cats seem to be coming alive there with the sailboat. I got you. Yeah, and it's not because one half of the hammer,
Dahn.
Cowboys Tone Diggs is here. It's not because a man who spent 36 years coaching football.
Whoa.
Listen to this. Just got this stat actually 4 minutes ago. 18 years in college, 18 years in the NFL. Huh?
Whoa.
Balance.
Wow.
Couple 18 packs.
What, this guy earned it all.
How about
Ladies and gentlemen, from Boulder, Colorado originally, former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Chuck Pagano. Great to see you, Chuck. Can you hear us?
I got you.
Yeah, all right. So what happens here, because Chuck beat the hell out of leukemia in one season. The chemo beat the hell out of his hearing a little bit. Still got his hair, though, which was a big deal. Because the hair looks fantastic, but he lost a little bit of his hearing. So he has actual ears that he puts in. And these things, obviously, incredible with modern science. All right? I don't know how they were able to figure it out. But there's some places where you're standing where he can't hear. Right in front of him is sometimes a tough spot. So right before we go live, he takes his ears out, puts show ears in. So there's about a 90-second period where Chuck is literally in his own world.
Yeah.
He's sitting next to us, but he's in our own world. Chuck, it's great to hear you, see you. I'm happy you can hear us.
I'm sorry. It's frustrating, isn't it?
No, I think it's amazing. I genuinely enjoy it. I assume, though, for you, it has been something you've had to adjust to a little bit.
No, go to a restaurant with my wife, and
Shout out to
I can hear everybody else's conversation, but I can't communicate with my wife. So these deals.
That was from chemo, right? Did you know that was going to be one of the potential things that would come with it, or no?
Did not, just after the fact, But if we'd have signed up and said, hey, you're going to be cancer-free, but you're going to be deaf, hey, give me deaf.
Yep,
Done.
sure.
I'm good.
And he might have slipped in there. How about the hair, though?
Yeah. Keep that.
You know what I mean? That hair. As soon as that thing came back and you got to sleek that back the first time, I know that had to feel pretty good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. You look great. We appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it, Coach.
He'll be talking all day with us about everything taking place. He also has full depth chart for both teams playing tonight. I don't know, can you hold that up, Chuck? Can you just kind of face that? We don't have to zoom in. Look at this guy.
How about that?
Look at this guy.
Chuck,
He's got the
sheets are full.
Yeah, we're talking notes. We're talking detail. We're talking learning stuff today. But not just about that. No, it's LDS Thursday.
That's right.
Okay, now some people say, what does that mean?
Yeah.
LBS is Pons, LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, LeBron J.
Right, there it is. Sure.
LDS, what's that? Well, that's Latter-day Saints. The artist formerly known as Mormon. A man is representing said religion. Friend of the program. Absolute dog of a football player. 9 years, I believe, in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cal Van Noy. Kyle traveled out here to hang out with us today. We're incredibly thankful for that.
Hell yeah.
Free agent right now. Still in it, though.
I am still in it.
You look like you're in great shape right now.
Best shape ever.
LDS, Latter-day Saints.
Yes, Latter-day Saints. I think we're going away from the Mormon trajectory. I think that's what they want.
That's a smart PR move.
That's what we do.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that goes with the Mormon name. Immediately upon hearing Mormon, you automatically think of all the
I remember that, Doc.
bingo.
Yep.
There was a doc
Right
that
away.
happened. I know you guys saw it. You had to have heard about it
Yeah, I
in
think
the
so.
community. Had to have heard about it in the community. But every religion, I think if you were to dive in, you potentially can make a doc or two about all of them. So I have massive respect for anybody that is committed to whatever they feel is the right move for them going forward. With that being said, Austin Collie was the first LDS human I met. Buddy, I had 1,000 questions for him.
I bet.
I was like, so you're the first one.
So,
Okay, so I apologize. You kind of know me a little bit now. This is how this is going to go. And just like listening to the commitment, the discipline, and everything, nothing but respect. But Kyle, you're not the only LDS member that's on the show today. Manti Te'o will be joining us. Yeah, Manti Te'o will be joining us in the third hour on YouTube and ESPN Plus. Obviously, Notre Dame, Ohio State this weekend. Can't wait to get his thoughts on what South Bend's going to be like, where we will be live tomorrow with Coach Marcus Freeman. Coach Lou Holtz. Aaron Rodgers. And I believe there's a chance, if we're able, depending upon how the schedule goes, I think Shane Gillis is going to be picking you.
yes!
Wow.
What a great day.
We'll see how if the schedules line up. I think there's
That'll
a
be
chance.
while we're on ESPN S2.
Yeah, that
What?
one.
He's
that
not
was gonna
getting
be, that was going to be the last hour. Yeah.
Quick 5 at
We'll see.
1:45?
Hopefully everything works out for that to happen. I watched his special last
Yeah,
night.
hope
Man,
you'll
oh,
be
man.
awake.
Yeah, well,
His
yeah.
special was great. Special was great.
So he's in Bloomington, Indiana tonight, I believe. So then he's traveling to South Bend, which is like a 3.5, 4 hour drive.
Yeah.
Probably from one
Just
to the
about.
other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? We'll see. And also, what is Aaron, when,
Right,
and coach, and, so like, we're going to try to piece it together. Tomorrow should be a big show. Anybody that'll come join us out there, we are incredibly thankful for. Don't feel obligated. Also, bring your own water.
Please.
Bring your own water.
Yes.
Shouldn't be too hot tomorrow.
Get a jug.
I don't know.
But we don't know.
I do not know.
Supposed to be nice.
Bring your
Gotta
own
stay
water.
hydrated.
Bro, we get yelled at. I
Yes.
do, and I feel terrible. I just turn around, they're like, water. I'm like, all right, we need to go to Walmart.
Yeah, what do
You
we?
guys go, well, how do we get enough
It's going
water?
to be in the 80s, so bring your water.
Yeah, bring some water. We'll have like 5 cases, I think, that hopefully we'll be able to give out, but that seems to run very quickly in these events. And more people have shown up at these shows than I could have ever imagined. I was scared to death to do these shows in front of a crowd because there's nothing that looks worse, especially we're going to ESPN, so all these people that hate us and have hated us for a long time, nobody there.
Everybody hates
No one likes these guys.
Tuscaloosa, the people were incredible.
Yeah.
Boulder, the people were incredible.
So good.
I'm assuming South Bend is going to be pretty fantastic, especially because
so.
Coach Freeman's going to be on. Coach Lou Holtz is going to be there. AJ Hawk, obviously, with Ohio State people coming into town.
I'd say.
Should be an incredible day tomorrow. We appreciate it. Manti Te'o will tell us about that today. And also, we have not gotten to properly address how he got bamboozled.
Yes.
No.
Kyle, you know what we're
talk
talking about.
Yeah, you got bamboozled.
So bad.
So bad.
Should they not have told his story a long time ago? Like immediately after it happened, that might have changed some things because that documentary that came out, was it like last year?
Last year, yeah, The Untold.
Last year, The Untold comes out and you start like he talked to this person. There's people that legitimized this person for him that he trusted and like was friends. They were like very real person. All that.
Cousin.
And everybody's like, this guy's a dipshit. But now that we know like catfishing happens on a very regular basis, that was kind of at the beginning of it, how he got bit. I think we should have came out a long time ago and told that guy's story.
And I think, too, if it came out nowadays with AI, I think it would have had his back a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
I just truly believe that. So it was just 10 years too early, but I think the way it's gone now, the team is finally rallying behind him.
Okay,
He's
I
on
think
his
so
side.
too. I think he is very much like not just the team. I think the world is behind him. And if you've seen him on his,
Man, oh, man.
Yoked.
Has not lost
properly.
properly job.
Well, he is poly. It runs in their blood. Like,
Yeah,
it's a poly thing.
Oos is obviously
Oos is-
dogs
Yeah.
since the beginning of time.
Yep.
But like he is,
Yeah.
Shredded.
looks like bodybuilder type thing.
Properly,
right now.
Jock.
Full fam. Yeah, I'm very excited. He and I have been DMing a little bit. Obviously, I was in Hawaii and I threw up a shaka on an Instagram story, and he says, "Looking good, Oos," and I'm like, "He's called me Oos."
Wow.
Okay, that means we're friends. That means we're friends. And then ever since then, we started chatting. We appreciate him. Travis Kelce will be joining us today, obviously. Nick Saban will be joining us today. Michael Lombardi will be joining us today. There's so much to chat about with so many people. Let's just dive right in. And don't want to do this, okay? This is not a fun story. We like to have fun here.
Yes.
Like to have a good time.
Yeah. Right.
Sports are a blast.
Yeah. So much fun.
You go to games, even before games, people are having more fun than they have the rest of the week. You go into the stadium, people are having a lot of fun. Now, there is going to be a couple ha-ha.
Yeah.
And there was a devastating one up there in New England, obviously, this past weekend. So there is some negativity, but mostly people's happiest moments are coming from sports. That's just how it is. That's how it was where I grew up. That's how it was where a lot of people grew up. Sports bring happiness, so we try to bring that. But there's something going on in Chicago right now where it is like, what the hell is going on up there? Now, yesterday, there was obviously some press conferences that stole some headlines where Justin Fields called himself robotic and whenever he was watching a self-tape or self-scout, and then he said coaching was potentially one of the reasons why. The way he delivered it wasn't as bad as it was whenever it was quoted on the internet and kind of spread everywhere, but still, he had to come out and apologize afterwards. Eberflus, last week going into the Tampa game very late, said, "I'm going to be calling the plays for the defense because defense coordinator Alan Williams is out for a personal reason," okay? It kind of gets defense coordinator, head coach doing it. Doesn't really feel like that big of a story. Then boom, yesterday, FBI raids Alan Williams, former defense coordinator of the Chicago Bears house. And then also Hallis Hall got raided by the FBI. And it was like, okay, whoa, what a day in Chicago. You got the quarterback and the coaches potentially at odds. You got the quarterback apologizing. Team has stunk, is stinking, and appears to stink in the future.
Yes.
Hope that's not, you got the Chiefs this weekend. So, I mean, it's not like, hey, bounce back game. Here we go to get past things. You got the reigning, defending, undisputed world champions. But then you start learning more about the FBI raid. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is very, very serious. Then Ian Rappaport comes out and he says, just to clarify some things, there was no FBI raid on Hallis Hall today. The league is not involved. And Peanut Tillman, who works for the FBI in Chicago, is not involved whatsoever in this matter. Okay, but what he left out there was, did an FBI raid happen at Alan Williams' house? Now it has been speculated, and his attorney has come out and said that there was no crime that has taken place and unequivocally answered these questions saying nothing went wrong with my potential client. But anytime you hear about an FBI raid happening, you assume that there's some smoke, there's a fire. We will say, I mean, we've been sued for a lot of stuff, but our sources have told us, okay, have told me that an FBI raid did happen on defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Alan Williamson's house. And I think as soon as you hear that, immediately everybody thinks about, you know, what have you heard about houses being FBI raided before? There's obviously very, very, very serious, disgusting allegations that potentially could be in play here. There's also potential drugs, right, that could be in play here. There could be some other stuff taking place. Nonetheless, he has resigned from the Chicago Bears quickly. He has been removed, and all the conversation around him has kind of been very distant. The Bears have kind of just said, it's a personal matter. They're dealing with it. They're doing their whole thing. So we will see how this all turns out. Not a good time in Chicago for the Bears. I would like to say, as somebody that played on a team where Alan Williams was the coach, I could never have expected what some of these outcomes could be from him, but I don't think anybody ever expects that from somebody that is successful and potentially gets caught up in a situation where the house is getting FBI raided. Cal Van Noy, I believe he was also a coach on a team you were on?
Yeah, he was a coach. He was the safeties coach when I was around. I'm the same boat as you. I didn't expect anything like that to come out either.
About anything with Alan Williams. That's like a real deal. And coach, he's been around. This guy's coached, I think, in Indianapolis, Minnesota, Detroit. He's in Chicago now. He's been around the NFL a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people are probably...
Good coach, great reputation. I mean...
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, I think, are very surprised. So, like, the internet's obviously going to immediately say, like, you know, because... I mean, if the FBI is raiding, everybody thinks of them taking computers. Why they take computers? Because things that are on computers. You know, so then as soon as you think of that, you're like, that takes me back. Like, I was here whenever Fogel's house got raided here. There was helicopters in the sky, choppers in the sky, and then everything took place. It was like, the subway guy that happened to? And that's what the internet, I think, automatically jumped to. But I think if you listen to the way his attorney is talking, it almost sounds like there's, because they keep saying personal and health. And it sounds terrible to even speculate on this, but I think there's also a chance that this is maybe like drug, pill, pharmaceutical, maybe, something like that, which is not, obviously it's not what is being assumed by a lot of people, but that's also terrible. And who knows how many different departments are going to be involved in that whole thing. It's just out of Chicago yesterday, one of the worst news days for a sports team in history, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and we looked before the show, or I looked up, because, anytime you hear drugs, you would assume like, oh, well, where's the difference between FBI and DEA? And I guess DEA is like a single mission type thing. So if it is like a doctor who is writing false prescriptions for a bunch of people and he just so happened to be caught up in that, like that would fall under the FBI's jurisdiction. So certainly possible. I mean, it stinks that everyone automatically assumes, oh, hey, this has got to be some sort of child pornography thing, because that's terrible.
So you just said it, yeah.
Well, right. But everyone's saying it.
But it is the assumption on the internet.
It is.
Anytime you hear about this type of thing.
And it's tough because, even if that's like an assumption, I feel like sometimes it's like you don't recover from that, even if that is not what's going on at all. Like just having that kind of hung above your head.
And it could be, by the way. We have no idea.
For sure.
We're just saying, with the way the attorney's talking, though. The attorney is talking, and granted, this is how attorneys are going to talk. But I believe the last name was Stroth. Dan Stroth. Ooh. Andrew Stroth? Ooh. I just looked him up. Anyways, he's talking like, no crime. Andrew Stroth.
Andrew. There you go.
Hell yeah, a lot of names happening. Thank you for that question. There's absolutely no criminal activity. Stroth emphasized that strongly and unequivocally. So, I think he believes from what's happened, there's a way out. Like, what Coach did here isn't we'll be able to do it. He might just be saying the complete lie, though, because he's an attorney and trying to represent somebody. We have no idea, but we know not good, obviously.
Yeah, I also saw, I was just looking at a tweet right now that he said it was due to health concerns and family issues. So, who knows?
Also possible.
Yeah, but so who knows? All I know is Eberflus has got to coach a team now, and they got to play a little football. And they got the Chiefs in a few days. Not exactly the perfect team to have this type of situation. And not that any time this situation is good, but it's like things could get real bad real quick. Joining us now is a guy who's been around the NFL for how long?
40 plus?
40 plus years.
Yeah.
I think he currently has a class that he is
Gridiron
put together for people to kind of learn a little bit about the ins and outs of how the NFL operates. He put out a tweet yesterday like, hey, if you want to learn how to do football, just go ahead and reply with a football emoji and just your name or whatever. And then all of a sudden that thing got 2,000 retweets and people were like, and Lombardi was like, whoa, whoa, okay. Can't keep up with everybody. Here's the link. The man's brain is fantastic. We appreciate getting a chance to chat with him every single week. The host of the Lombardi Line, the founder of the Daily Coach, which is a newsletter, a TED talker, an author. Obviously, his book is out right now. It's sitting on the shelf, Football Done Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Yeah, Lombardi.
Thank you, Pat. Good to be here, guys. Good to be here. Good week 3. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to you being in South Bend, too. I could tell you that big game.
Huge game.
Let me ask you this question. You're supposed to ask me, but I wanted to ask you. Okay, if Sam Hartman plays as good as he's been playing, you think he's got a chance to win the Heisman?
Okay, of course, because he's going to be on primetime TV. So if he plays as good as he has been playing, that means Notre Dame's going to win a lot of games. They beat Ohio State here on this particular game, and Sam Hartman has one immediately into the conversation, especially because Notre Dame folks have been yearning for a Heisman-like player for a long time. What Marcus Freeman has done, I think, has been fantastic. I asked Sam Hartman when he buzzed in on game day, I'm like, I assume there's a lot of schools. Like, think of Alabama, Sam Hartman. I mean, just like, there was probably a lot of schools that were wanting Sam Hartman's services out of Wake. Why'd you choose Notre Dame? And he was like, well, Coach Freeman was like, the guy. Like, I want to go play for him. That's a weapon to have. But yes, I think he will go in there. Hey, let me ask you a question now. Because they're saying Caleb is number 1, Drake May number 2. Now it's who's QB3 for the next NFL draft. And I think, Shador's dad is Deion Sanders. So, I think that is also a much more important factor for people that are making actual decisions as opposed to maybe pundits that are kind of talking about things. Who is that, do you think? And do you think the Caleb Drake one is the accurate order where we stand right now?
I'm not sure it is the accurate order. What I'm enjoying about this college football season, every time I change the channel, there's a good quarterback on. Michael Penix up at Washington. I mean, Cameron Wade at Washington State. No one talks about him. He put 50-some on Colorado State. He was incredible. And so I just think it's really going to take the whole season. And these games are like Sanders this week, going into Eugene, going there, having to play them. That's going to be a tough game. Sam Hartman, Ohio State at home. Those are the kind of games you want to evaluate. One thing about college football, when you're evaluating, there's certain games you pay no attention to because the level of comp is so dramatically different. So guys are going to look good against that. But when you get really good level of comp, one's really good against really good, that's the best evaluation. So Hartman against Ohio State, Sanders against Oregon, that's going to be great. You got so much of this. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited, and I like watching May. I'm intrigued by May. I can't wait to keep watching him as the year goes on.
Big. He's a big son of a bitch. That is. I think whenever people see him, when he comes into these meetings, I think they're going to be like, damn, because of how athletic he is and how smooth he is very, and I hate doing this, but it's like a Josh Allen type.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like a Josh Allen feel with how big he is. Now, will he be able to finish the season how he played at the beginning of last year and how he's playing now? I think so. I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah.
And then Caleb is electrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is absolutely.
No question.
All right, let's move into
He's the real deal. He would have been the first pick in this draft. I think there's no question about that. Had he been able to come out, he would have been picked ahead of Bryce Young. He would have been the first pick. And I'll go on the limb and say the Bears would have picked him.
And traded Justin Fields. Let's go into that. So right now there's a lot going on in Chicago.
Yeah.
You got the FBI raiding the house. Our sources have told us that has taken place. That is true, even though the internet said it was true, then it's not true. We don't know the facts. Who knows the facts? Well, we've been told by a couple people now that his house did get raided. So the FBI's involved. That means, I assume, they have a pretty good lead on something. They're saying like the beginning of an investigation. This feels like it's a little bit later in the investigation, but let's just leave that aside as we talk about football. Then you got Justin Fields saying something and kind of getting taken out of context, but he certainly said it, and then he has to apologize for it. Then you got Eberflus having to deal down with the quarterback and the coach relationship and your coaches. How do you think you're doing? And then you got the Chiefs coming up. How do you if you're in that building, what is the mindset and how do you move on pretty much?
Well, and then you got your left tackles on IR. You lose him. Your left guard's already on IR, so you're moving people around. You lose Eddie Jackson. You lose your best nickel corner, and you lose another corner. I mean, it's really falling apart there. And so all you can do is try to improve a little bit. You got to try to circle the wagons and try to improve a little bit. Just take it one day at a time and try to block out the noise. Hard to do. I really get that. For Fields, he stroked that fire a little bit. Look, the numbers don't lie. The guy has started 27 games. He's played in 29. His numbers over that span have not been good. Now, he has a lot of people defend him, and that's fine. Everybody should have defense attorneys. However, when you watch that tape, if you and I sat down and watched that tape together, there's a lot of plays that Luke Getsy called that didn't get executed, that the ball wasn't thrown. He took sacks. He missed throws. My question to all these Twitter coaches that are out there diagramming plays, all that, the brilliance of all those, the Sid Gilmans on Twitter, is what plays are you calling for Fields? What plays are you going to call? Ask Chuck Pagano if he's in the building today. What plays do you think he's in the building? He knows it. He's smart. He knows it. What plays are you going to call? Getsy's getting blamed for that. I don't know Luke Getsy from the Man on the Moon. I don't know him from the Man on the Moon. I've never met him.
Oh, yeah. Happened. Right. Man on the Moon happened. Okay, got it. That's
okay. So, I don't know him, but I know he's trying to get completions, and his sheet that he's looking at is small because there's not a lot of throws he can make that are completions. So he calls screens to get him going a little bit. To me, that's the issue. Look at his numbers. His numbers do not lie. And you know me, I'm not from the analytical world, but the analytics say it's not good. The eye test says it's not good. And this is the fundamental problem in the NFL. This is where civil wars start in the NFL. And Chuck can verify this. The coach thinks the player's bad. The personnel guys sitting next to the owner think the player's great. He just needs to run a different offense. We just need a different offense for Justin. And there starts the civil war. When in reality, when we were at the Raiders, Al always wanted a player to play, and we all knew he couldn't play. So we were unified on one front. We didn't have that problem, even though we had to play some guys we shouldn't have played, but that was a separate issue.
Yeah, it was a pretty simple decision, though. I was making the decision. You guys are moving on. That's work. That's business. The Fields conversation, though, this offseason got real loud. Dan Orlovsky said he was going to win MVP.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I heard it. He also doesn't have Joe Montana as top 5 quarterback, so we won't go there. We won't go there today.
Dan knows that you know that, too.
Yeah,
Dan is very aware of how you feel about that, but you've been banging this drum for a a long time, and then lo and behold, the first 2 weeks, Justin Fields looks worse than he did last year. And I think if you're asking us what play we're going to run, I think we have him do this, right? Don't we? I mean, he's our guy, right?
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah,
but Chuck will tell you, watch the Tampa game. They played him inside out. They were not going to give him the edges. They were going to say, look, if you're going to run the ball, you're going to have to run it between the tackles, and you're going to get hurt doing that. Like, Todd Bowles just didn't wake up yesterday. He understood the plan before the plan. Like, we're going to keep this guy in the pocket. We're not going to give him any of these runs, and we're going to make him have to. First play of the game, he runs a dig. Great throw inside. Okay, Bowles is saying to himself, I want to see if you can do that 25 more times. I want to see if you can do that 25 more times. You did it once. I want to see. And Bowles knew he couldn't. And so he didn't panic. He just played his defense. And he got him. Look, anytime you walk into a quarterback room, there are places on the field a quarterback cannot take a sack. Okay, he cannot take a sack when you have the ball at your own 30-yard line, at the opponent's 30, and it's 3rd and 7, and you got to get a first down. You take a sack there, it goes from being a 47-yard field goal to a 54-yard field goal. You can't take one. What did he do? He held the ball. Like, there's things that have to happen that just don't happen. You can blame Getsy all you want. They'll bring another coach in next year. It won't change.
Well, who knows if that's the case, too, because with everything happening now with Coach Allen Williams, and that's an Eberflus's title, and if they don't, I mean, there's like, who knows what that revolving door in Chicago could potentially continue to look like. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about Week 3 kicking off, which we're all excited about. Go ahead, Ty Schmidt.
Yeah, Lombo, obviously Saquon's not going to go tonight, but do you think that the Giants are back on track after their second half in Arizona, after looking just abysmal for the first 6 quarters of the season? Obviously, San Francisco is going to be very tough, but do you think the Giants kind of proved enough in that second half that convinces you that they're back?
Well, I mean, I think they showed mental fortitude and they showed toughness, right? They needed to do that. You know, the level of comp. There's certain teams in the league that are what I call time teams. Like Arizona's a 50-minute team. 2 weeks in a row now, they've played good for 50 minutes. They can't play the fourth quarter. And so what happens in the fourth quarter? Well, the fourth quarter, you have to throw the ball when the other team knows you have to throw it. You have to run it when the other team knows you have to run it. And you've got to defend those two things. Arizona cannot do that. So they lose the fourth quarter. And that's the problem. They're going to keep doing that. So what the Giants did was take advantage of it, and they deserve credit. It's going to be harder this week. Without their Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, the right tackle's not playing well. They're going to have to run Andrew Jones. Daniel Jones. He's going to have to be the six-back runner in this offense. I think it's going to be really hard for them. They have not played well defensively up until the second half. But I think tonight they will, but it's always so hard on a short week. Kyle's offense is impossible to defend because especially when you're Don Martindale and you've got a lot of blitzes and you want to run different things, he moves players from point A to point B. It changes a lot for you. And so he keeps you simple, and it's very challenging.
Okay, so let's talk about the Niners. Let's talk about that team. Now, the defense, obviously, incredible. I don't think Bosa's sacks have been at where everybody just expected them to be immediately upon coming back, but we all know that could change at any given moment, at any given time. The Jungle Cat can pick up 4 sacks if he really wants to. This San Francisco 49ers team feels to be a wagon again. You see it the same way?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And Purdy missed a couple throws last week that he probably wouldn't make. I thought Jennings came off the bench for Ayuk and played really well. Yeah, they're really hard to defend because they put you in base and they still have 5 eligible. And that's the hard thing to do. If you start studying this league a little bit this year, you're seeing more teams that play under center that are having more success, making more explosive plays. The shotgun teams, even Baltimore's been under center more with Lamar than they've ever had in the past. I think there's a trend going back that way. Dallas under center more, because it gives you a little bit more versatility within your offense and your formation group. Cincinnati, all shotgun, all 3 receivers. You know, we got Chase, who's one of the best receivers in football. He's got 10 catches for 70 yards.
Yeah,
that's 7 yards a catch. So I think that's where we're seeing a little bit of a movement there. People know how to defend the spread a little better. And I just think San Francisco, because they get 5 eligible out of base personnel, is really hard. And they move them around. They're simple for the offense, they're complex for the defense.
Oh, less thinky, more athlete take over. Hey, 10.5 tonight. 10.5 tonight, Lombo. It feels like a lot, but it's also...
It does.
Doesn't it? It feels like a lot, Lombo.
Yeah, I can't... Thursday nights for me are not nowhere to go. The only thing I know about Thursday night is Al Michaels will have the greatest knot tied for his tie that you'll ever see. I mean, he's on a hit streak. He's on a tie streak. He should teach how to tie a tie on Instagram. I mean, it's the greatest knot you're ever going to see.
So I don't know how to tie a tie.
He should.
People will be surprised by this. I have no idea how to tie a tie. Like every I've tried.
It's the greatest.
Well,
I don't know how
LDS
Herbie
Thursday,
doesn't just stare at it the whole time. I don't know how Herbie doesn't stare at it the whole time.
Well, I think he does. That's how Herbie lost all that weight.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat when you're hypnotized by the double. What is it? A double Windsor? What do they call them? Triple?
Yeah, it's a double Windsor. Yeah.
Double Windsor? That's what I'm
Half-full
talking
double,
about. Yeah, he's got a black diamond tied up there. I mean, this guy, he's Al Michaels. Of course he knows how to do that. Speaking of LDS Thursday and ties, I assume you guys, is that what you were trying to say? You guys just wore ties all the time?
Yeah, I could help you. But I got a question for you, Mike.
I just learned a lot about LDS right there. So we're wearing it every day.
Kyle,
we
got another Patriot in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And a Dolphin.
And I actually, a Dolphin
Yeah.
and a Detroit Lion that everyone forgets. I was there.
Hell
I
yeah.
just was sitting my ass on the
took you
bench.
from-
I get it.
From Detroit, we knew what to do with you, and we took you from Detroit.
Hell yeah.
I
So
do
what's a good one?
appreciate that. Speaking of that, I want to talk about the Patriots real quick. They have a tough game against the Jets. They could fall to 0-3, which is not good. Can you explain to the people about how Bill could potentially be missing a guy like Ernie Adams and what that has meant for that organization? Ernie Adams was a huge success with Bill, and I don't think it's been talked about enough with Ernie Adams leaving. Can you expand on that?
Yeah. I think first of all, Kyle, from being around Bill, Bill's a great listener. So
Yeah.
Bill will listen to people, but you've got to have information. You just can't come in there and say some ridiculous thing and think he's going to listen to you. You got to back it up with facts. And he and Ernie go back to playing at Andover together. So they have such a great relationship. And he can give Bill an idea about maybe something that Bill can't see. When you watch the Patriots, right, that they have more negative plays than any team in the league. They move the ball to the 50, and then they sputter out and they turn the ball over. And they haven't been able to run the football at all, which Stevenson was a 1,000-yard back last year. Their offensive line has been in flux. They played so many young players. But where they've really hurt themselves is, and you've heard him say this in many meetings, is they have not avoided losing. And you can't avoid you have to avoid losing before you can win. And I think that's their biggest issue. And Ernie certainly would know that. Bill knows that they have hurt themselves with negative plays, turnovers, penalties. And when you do that, especially when you have the ball on the other side of the field, they move the ball against Miami, and then they sputter out and they turn it over. I mean, the first drive of the game, they're sitting there across the midfield, turnover, a sack, they don't pick up the blitz. Those are the problems you can't overcome. And I think certainly they've got to get that fixed, but it starts with their offensive line. They've got to get that line fixed. They have to get better up front.
Well, they couldn't stop the run last year, right? Now the offensive line, he can't protect or move anybody. I mean, that's a trenches mentality. Maybe Ernie was like the guy who's like, hey, bad, right here, offensive line. We got no trenches in this entire thing. How is Bill able to do what you've described? And then I heard Judon talking about it, and I assume Kyle Van Noy would say the same thing. Allegedly, and you've said this before, so there's going to be some people that have heard this again, but allegedly Bill can forecast what a game's going to be. And Judon, who's only been there for a couple of years, I forget who he was talking to. Maybe it was a McCourty. I forget if it was a McCourty.
I think it was a McCourty.
It was
Sunday night.
Sunday Night Football, McCourty. And he goes like, Bill is telling us exactly what's going to happen in the game. And then when the game happens, it's like
amazing.
Exactly what it is. Then how come you're not winning right now? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's like.
Well, because then what happens on Monday is, here's what I told you guys, and you get that we've done it your way, it doesn't work. We're going to start doing it my way now. You know, it's like that's what gives them credibility on the Monday meeting. Look, this is what we talked about. We didn't do it. We didn't back it up. We've got to do it. I think the NFL film should film those Sunday meetings.
How's he know?
He's got the script.
He has a great ability of understanding.
Kyle. LDS Thursday. Bill's got the script.
That's bullshit.
We knew he had the camera, didn't he? He was making movies.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Wasn't against the rules.
You were there.
Look,
you.
I think he knows he's prepared for what they're going to do. He knows the tendencies. He understands the coach that he's competing against. He knows what the adjustments are. So he can pretty well feel like he knows that if he goes into the Meadowlands and doesn't turn the ball over, and he's able to come out of there with a clean game, no penalties and all that, it'll be a close game into the fourth quarter, and he's got to force it. You know, he knows that Salah's defense, he studied this defense. We played it in the Super Bowl in 2014, so they understand how to attack the defense. I'm not saying it's going to be successful, but all those things kind of lay out the game. And that's what he tries to do. And he basically teaches a history lesson of the opponent. Kyle will tell you, when you're done playing a team, you know exactly what that team was.
Is that right, Kyle?
It's pretty good. He's pretty accurate when he's forecasting. It's elite.
And that's what they said. They said it's like stupid. Like everybody has been like, if you were to sit in these meetings and you would just hear him basically just say.
They should be. I've got notes from every one that I was in, and it's remarkable. Like to the Super Bowl, the one in Atlanta. Now the Atlanta one, Kyle will tell you, we practiced 2-point plays because we thought we needed to extend the lead. We had 2 Thursday and Friday practices, 5 minutes each on 2-point plays for that game because we thought we needed to extend the lead. But what happened was we needed to catch up, so they benefit us the other way.
Oh, so Bill didn't know. That's right. Okay, I just heard about one game. Heard about one game. You know what I mean? That's what Andy Reid and the Chiefs are trying to catch right now. Good luck. I assume Andy Reid still has the same type of thing, and his creative offense is going to be something that'll continue to be great. But like that 20-year run, bro.
Man.
I mean, it's so long. So many different careers came and gone while the Patriots were still just winning. Now, obviously, the internet is saying, that's because they had Tom Brady.
Yeah,
now, hey, we're not getting into it. Chuck Pagano has a question for you, Paisan.
Lombo. Hey, so the fullback is like an extinct species now in the National Football League, but we're going to see a great one tonight, right? And Kyle Juszczyk. We know that down at Miami, Mike McDaniel is a disciple. He comes from the Shanahan tree. He uses one. Why aren't more people using a fullback? Why do they decide to run 21 personnel? Why will we see so much 21 personnel tonight? Why aren't more people doing it? Are they just not being used in college anymore? You can't find these guys. It seems like Kyle and Mike McDaniel figured it out.
Lambeau's son's using them in Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then Ricard, right? Ricard and the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the best teams in the league are going to – look, here's the problem. Most teams don't even practice against two-back runs. They don't know how to fit against two-back runs. If you try to get ready for San Francisco and their two-back runs in 3 days, it's going to be hard to understand your fits. You're going to give up big runs. Chuck, I don't know. I've been preaching it. I think when everybody zigs, you need to zag. And I think you need to go back the other way.
Yeah.
Boom.
I think you said that.
You've got to be able to do that. And I think teams don't play like nobody plays run defense like they did 10 years ago. It's like a punt return. Everybody runs to their gap and stays in their lane. You put two backs in the backfield, it's a different game. I agree. I would do it. And your play action game, like New England can't make any big play. Last year, they finished 4th in the league in big plays. This year, they're the worst team in the league. They can't make a play over 10 yards. Last year, they were in a little bit more two-back. You got to have play action. You got to separate the defense to get some of those routes down the field, especially on drive starters. Drive starters are the most important play of anything because if you start a drive with a 20-yard gain, you got a really good chance of scoring.
I'd say.
If you start a drive with a 2-yard gain, you got a really good chance of punting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so.
I'm watching that
drive
first.
starters. Right. Drive starters are so big. How do you start drives with play action pass? Shots down the field. That's what makes Kyle so good. And then he alters it every week. Instead of running the over, he runs the over out. He runs something different that gives it. And the quarterback, it's easy read for the quarterback.
Do you feel like? Do you feel like the Giants and Wink's defense, like Micah McFadden? He's not like the biggest inside linebacker. Okereke is doing a nice job for him.
Kerry K. Listen, they bamboozled me, but you got no excuse.
But the rub routes, the crossing routes, as much man as Wink wants to play, you see some issues there for Wink in that defense. He's got 2 rookie corners out there.
Oh, Chuck, what are you saying? It sounds like Chuck. It sounds like you're thinking that the Giants are in a tough.
It's a hard matchup because he's going to make sure that Wink has to make an adjustment, and his communication is going to have to be really good. And that's a hard thing. I think that's one of the issues in Cincinnati defensively. He lost both starting safeties. His communication, as you know, Chuck, when you have a safety that can get you lined up, why did Jim Leonard play as long as he did in the career? Because he got everything lined up for Rex Ryan. He could make all the calls on the field. That's a hard thing, and I think Wink's going to have to make sure he's really sound in that area. And the problem is if he doesn't do what he has to do and run the defense, he's not as talented as they are. They'll find a weakness within his coverage, and then he'll exploit it.
It sounds like you think that the Giants are in for a long night tonight, Chuck. That's what I just heard out of those questions you asked.
Yeah, I mean, this is third-rated rushing offense in the National Football League right now. San Fran is.
Okay.
The Giants are 26th.
They
give up
defense?
and giving up the run. 135 yards a game they give up.
All right, we got to fix your microphone too. You came out. You're saying good stuff. We need to get that fixed. Obviously.
I think the key to the game is for really to beat Kyle, to beat this scheme. you can't play from behind. You have to force him into a drop back pass game. You have to force him into trying to get away from play action pass and make it a drop back, because then you got a chance to attack his offensive line and power the quarterback. There are very few drop back passes in their scheme. But if they can run the football and they have balance, then it's hard to get to them. It's hard to kind of take advantage of their one area because they go small up front, even though Banks is a big guy and Williams is a big guy. I mean, typically they are not a great pass protecting team in drop back. They are really good in run back.
And Brock Purdy feels like just the perfect quarterback for everything out there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not going to. I assume that $897,000 is what he's getting paid. Like, he feels like a guy too. Very thankful for his opportunity. Just wants to play ball, win games. Like, they're going to be able to take advantage of this for a foreseeable future, I do believe, which is good for them. Speaking of a team that needs to take advantage of some stuff, Tone Diggs has a question for you.
Yeah, Lombo, there's two teams playing this weekend who are both 0-2 in the Vikings and in Chargers. Does it matter for either team, or is there glaring weaknesses so far in the season even matter going forward, or are they done already?
Well, I don't think they're done. I mean, the Chargers are giving up way too many big plays. I mean, they lead the league in allowing big plays, and this is tough. They played Jefferson this week with Cousins, and their pass rush hasn't really dominated. I mean, they lost that game. It was inexcusable to lose that game. They got the ball, in midfield at 49 seconds to go with the 2-minute warning, and they don't run enough plays to get it in the end zone. They should have ended that game then. Instead, they had the ball first and 10 at their own 14 with 51 seconds, and Staley went into the locker. He went into overtime with one timeout in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, you got to take shots in the end zone. You got to run a better 2-minute drill, and then they come out in the 2-minute. They come out in overtime and they throw 3 incomplete passes. The next thing you know, they lose the game. They have nobody to blame but themselves. And Minnesota is just not talented enough on defense. I think it'll be a really good game. I think the Chargers can win this game because I think the Chargers offense, I don't even know if Eckler plays. I doubt he's going to play. It doesn't sound like it. There's enough there to give a lot of trouble to the Minnesota Vikings defense, which isn't very talented, but they play hard. I mean, they tried everything against Philly. They just couldn't hold up in the run. They were a gap short in the run game. They gave it away, and Philly was disciplined enough to keep running it.
Mm-hmm. Vikings still covered, though. I mean, let's not forget that. Yep. We got a nice little graphic for Chuck, who called that last week, obviously coming up here in the next couple hours. Do you think Chargers are missing an edge rush guy?
Well, they got the 2 highest paid edge rush guys in the league. They got Bosa and Mack.
Yeah, but
I mean, they got to get.
There's a glue
guy.
Get
better. They got to.
A leader
look, they
guy.
give up way too many big plays.
Right here.
Yeah, he's a Mormon.
There are a lot of. I mean, look, Kyle will tell you.
Yeah,
Kyle would.
Exactly.
That's who we're talking about.
And then Kendricks. I mean, Kendricks was hurt last week. See, when Kyle's the fifth rusher, that's when Kyle's the best. That's when he's really the best, because then he fits on the rush and he ends up with the right matchup. That's where I think early in his career, by trying to make him a fourth rusher. This is not a knock on him, but the fifth rusher, people don't understand the difference between the fourth and fifth rusher. Some guys are, Micah Parsons is a great rusher, period. But when he's the fifth rusher, oh man, he's even better, because he fits on the rush and he knows how to work his way through the pocket.
Oh, that was that loop. The loop, swoop, and pull.
It's an instinctive thing.
He did that early. That's actually the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
Where Micah, a little game, up and from the outside up to the middle, and then he crawled for 15 yards faster than most people can sprint. So, yeah, he's a different animal. Kyle, is that a compliment, or we hate him for what he just said? Okay, all right. You say no more.
It's hard to say. I think it's a double-edged sword. It's one thing to say, like, I understand what he's saying. I'm a matchup problem, but at the other time, it's kind of like knocking a little bit, saying I can't rush. But
you highlight all players.
It's out Thursday.
Jeez, Lombo.
All players are better when they're put in the right system that matches their skill set.
Or on the field.
Yeah,
that helps too.
Free agent, still a free agent. He's taking on Connor later. Let's see if he's still got full pads. It's going to take place. Speaking of Connor has a question for you, Lombo.
Yeah, Lombo, you're Italian, so I'm sure a lot of people reached out to you.
Hey, your tongue.
Tread light.
Well,
Didn't care
I said
for that.
you're Italian.
All right.
That's not how you said it.
I mean, look, he just told Kyle Van Noy he sucks at football.
That's
so
not
you're
what he
really
said.
going to stand up for Lombardi?
I did not.
That's exactly what you did, Lombardi. And that's okay.
to
stand by your
Nobody
words,
needs to
my
put
friend.
words in my mouth. I put them in there. I do it myself.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What you got?
Okay, I'm just saying that's what it sounded like. That's what everyone's saying, is that you hate Kyle Van Noy. But when it comes to gambling. Of course, you are a master at it. Last week you had the Titans. That was a great call. There's another thing that happened last weekend with Sean McVay, where he kicked a field goal at the end of the game for no other reason aside from covering, is what people thought. What is the strategy there that he's trying to do, not just covering the spread so his friends win money? And then also, where the hell did Puka Nacua come from? And I'm kind of pissed at you for not telling me he existed.
Well, I mean, look, when you watch their scheme, they do a great job of getting the ball. When you watch games, you got to ask yourself this question: did the player get open, or did the scheme get open? And they put him in Cooper Kupp's area, and they do a great job of picking him, running him on unders, and the kid's been really good. So he came from BYU, he transferred. I forget where. I think it was at Washington, transferred over there. But they were talking about him all summer. He just was hurt this summer. He's had some durability issues, and the only thing I could come up with what Sean did is somebody in the analytics said, there's a seventh tiebreaker. It goes by point differential. Let's kick the field goal here. Because Sean was talking about, he didn't give himself enough time for the onside kick. You got to have enough time for the onside kick if you're going to do that.
Hey, question for you. Question for you as we talk about BYU. Did Puka Nacua go on a mission trip?
No, he served his mission at BYU playing football.
Okay, smart. Okay,
good mission.
I'm happy he converted because Austin Collie, I think he came in as a freshman, and then broke some records as a wide receiver, and then he went 2 years, I think, to Argentina or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And then he came back, not even touching a football.
Damn.
Hadn't touched a football or worked out. And then whenever he gets drafted, same class as me, he is a full-blown adult.
Yeah.
And I am not. So it was like a very interesting thing. So when they were winning in the 80s, they would send those linemen went on missions for 2 years. And so they would come back from the mission. They had an offensive line that looked like a pro line. These guys were men. They went away for 2 years, and they still had 3 years of eligibility.
Old whack. I'm playing at YO. Andy Reid's on that team. I don't even know Andy at that time. Didn't even know he's playing for him at the time. So we're playing all those guys that are 24, 25. We're looking through the game program, right? They all got big beard. Is this working?
Yeah.
You're looking at me funny. So they got beards. They got kids. Hey, here's his bio. He's been married for 5 years. He's got 3 kids. And all of us are going through the program going, this ain't fair, and they're kicking the shit out of us. Nielsen, Steve Young, McMahon had to play against all them dudes.
Yeah, I mean, BYU is they were wagging this past weekend. Hey, big time win. Big time win. Shout out to Coach and Puka and the boys out there. It's an incredible thing. So you got it sounds like you don't like making a pick on this particular Thursday night?
Not tonight. I like this week. I love Green Bay this week. I'm -2. I think Green Bay's offense has really been. Now they sputtered out in the fourth quarter. They had a chance to win the game, but I really like Green Bay, and I think 6.5 is too much in the Denver-Miami game. I would take Denver in the points here.
Wow.
I think Denver. I think it's a closer game based on my numbers. I like Denver take the 6.5. I like Green Bay lay the 2. Those are my 2 picks for the week, Pat.
You're a big Sean Payton guy, though, right? You believe in them?
Yeah, I do.
You think they're going to be able to turn that around?
Well, I mean, if Vic plays 2 like he did last week against Miami, and he did against New England, he stopped the run with his movement. But the last time they played, I think it was back in 2020 when Vic was in Denver. I mean, Sean put 239 on him running the football. Sean will know how to run the ball. That'll keep the game close. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think they'll keep it close. Look, they should have won that game last week. It's 21-3, and Russell turns it over. And then when they got a chance to get back in it, Russell has got Judy wide open. It's going to be a 40-yard gain. He throws it I don't know where the hell he threw it. Threw it in the dirt. The kid had to make a great catch.
Hey, Connor brings up a great point over here.
Yeah, Lombo, they were just saying that Sean Payton has to change the lingo and the vernacular for play calling and stuff because they had trouble relaying it into, Russell Wilson. Is that something where Drew Brees was just a genius and only he could do it? Or what's the situation?
Well, they worked together for so long. It was so easy. And then they would sit the night before the game and say, I like this, I don't like that. This is what we're going to do. And then he could get it going. That's the comfort level that you had. And it becomes easy. When you get too many words in there, it becomes a little difficult, especially for a player that's never been in the system for a long time. Look, communication in these NFL games are probably one of the reasons why teams break down, blow a coverage. They just don't communicate well enough, and they don't have guys on the field that do that. because they're learning it as well. They're thinking
Russ looks
too.
good, man.
He does.
I've seen him 2 times now this season, obviously, after last year's abysmal performance by him and the Denver Broncos. You see glimpses, you know?
Oh,
You
yeah.
see glimpses of like old Russ, and then you think to yourself, well, Sean Payton, good coach.
Yep.
So you just assume that it's going to work out. We'll definitely bet on him, though, plus 6.5 this
Sure.
weekend, even though the Miami Dolphins are a wagon right now. All right, we appreciate the hell out of you. Good luck with the Lombardi
Thanks, guys.
line and the podcast
Right.
and the email
Right.
and the books
Right.
and the TED Talk,
Right.
the motivational speeches,
Right.
and the
Teaching.
And Kyle, look, I was not saying a bad word about you. I love you, Kyle.
Too
You're
late.
always a
Like Justin
Patriot, always a
Fields.
Patriot.
Too
Yeah,
late.
that's like Justin Fields after.
I've
late, Lom.
never been on that bandwagon, Chuck. I've never been on that band. Only other people have been on that. I'm still trying to find the tape to watch why he was the MVP candidate, but we'll work on that.
We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
He felt bad.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Yeah,
after
'cause
it
he
was
knew.
pointed out. And as it was coming out of his mouth, I think if we were to rewatch it, his face is telling us that he knows.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Fifth
Sounds like
rusher.
an inside voice.
It feels good when that's not you, you know, watching where you don't mess up like that.
Yeah,
In a way.
bingo.
Like,
Oh, this guy just got caught. And
Does
Chuck,
that make any sense to you, Denver, being able to cover down there?
I don't know. He's just
With
talking
Vance
about
Joseph and the defense?
So I think there's a lot of questions about Vic, man. I think Vic Fangio, I honestly believe that there's a lot of wonders about what this defense will be. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey not going to be there for a while. Who knows what the team's going to look like whenever he's playing. But I think a lot of people wonder about Vic. He just said if he goes with that 2 like he did last week, he thinks that Sean Payton's going to be able to keep that thing close.
Yeah, with who? Williams is still coming back, trying to get into form, right? Who's he going to gain 200 yards rushing with? That ain't going to happen. They got Christian Wilkins inside. You got Chubb. Hopefully Jalen Phillips gets back healthy.
That microphone's
Yeah, I got to fix that.
Yeah, we
one.
got to fix that microphone. That's why you did cut out a couple times.
Is that better?
It is
Yeah,
better, but
hold
I think
it like that.
Yeah, just
For the rest of the show, don't move.
I don't know if that's
Perception flows.
ebbs and flows of the microphones, but you're just thinking that there's.
Well, look at
they ain't
Sam
got
Howell.
enough.
Sam Howell had what, over 300 yards passing?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
And Tua's like he can't miss.
Well, Howell, we saw a highlight of Howell, and he's throwing darts where no one else is daring to throw them.
But also, was it JJ that was like, we need to talk about the Dolphins defense?
Yes, yes.
He was like, hey, the Dolphins
D-line.
defense is not getting as much conversation as it needs. So I think that brings up to your point. But nonetheless, he's been hot. We just got to know that.
Yeah.
Lombo has been hot picking.
His only loss is Denver, I believe, actually.
And he's
1
just
for 1
stuck
last
with
week.
it.
He's just, he's
he
sticking
loves
to his
Sean
gun.
Payton, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Must.
And not just Sean Payton. He likes that the ownership is the wealthiest
Yep.
in the NFL.
Okay.
He likes that the general manager came out and said, I know my job, Sean knows his job, there's good direct. He likes the way the whole
Yeah.
thing is being set up over there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about you. You've been on a couple teams, obviously, bounce around a little bit. Are teams more similar or different, you think, whenever it comes to how they operate behind the scenes? Like, I was only an Indianapolis Colt, so I only know that when I walk in the locker room, there's going to be a Jim Irsay quote.
That's right.
Right
Boom.
here on the wall. It's going to get me jacked up.
You're reading it.
And it's going to say, hey, you're part of the circle. It's not a triangle, it's a circle. You need to make the circle as strong as possible, or you need to get the hell out of here. Okay, that's what Jim Irsay is basically saying. One of the coolest dudes of all time. What are buildings like everywhere? And if you had to, I don't want to say your favorite style, but what do you think is the most successful style or operation if you were to piece together a dream one on how the building is run?
I've been 4 different places. I started with the Lions. That one was
That's pre-MCDC.
And
Oh, yeah.
Same old Lions.
I don't want to
That
say
one.
that, but to me, Coach Caldwell kind of didn't have all the say like he should, even though he was a winner. I still believe he should be a head coach. He was an amazing motivator, amazing coach.
I loved him. I played for him as well.
Great. So then that was differently because management did stuff differently. Then you have the Patriots who runs the show.
Cream of the crop.
Everybody knows who runs the show there. You know, it goes Bill and RKK as a team, and that's it. Then you go to Miami, I would say Chris Greer ran the show. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe some other people. And then was with the Chargers, and they do it differently. So I wouldn't say I would pick a lot of it, and I liked the mentality the Patriots had because who was in charge, but I also was raised in systems like that. In high school, my high school coach used to put the plays in the newspaper and said, stop me. Like, that's his mentality. College, I had kind of a dictatorship in college. Bronco Mendenhall, elite coach. He's going to be a coach in this next cycle. really good coach. He was the same way. I'm going to get the best out of my guys. Bill, he's going to do whatever it takes to win and get the best out of his guys. So me, naturally, I thrive in that environment. So I also like what Staley does and Coach Caldwell does in the, let the players play, let the players run the team in that situation. So it kind of depends.
The Patriot way, though, is, chatted about and talked about and has been talked about. I've never been in there. Obviously, people have gone in there and had great success when they maybe didn't in other places, or castaways from one place going to New England, all of a sudden rebirth, just like coaches going to Coach Saban down there in Alabama. Then there's some people that go there and it doesn't work at all for them. I think that's what you're kind of pointing out is like situations or situational. It's a great quote. And it actually makes sense if you think about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't just rule it out.
Nope.
Don't just rule it out because it sounds so ridiculous.
Ponder.
You could use it in a lot of situations because situations are
situational.
But whenever they talk about the Patriot way, it's just like super accountability, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're here, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. The main thing is the main thing at all times.
Yeah.
And in some other places, it just seems like there's a little bit of
you get a little bit more freedom. There's not enough. There's not that structure of like, I'm going to fine you if you do this or fine you if you do that. It's kind of like, all right, like, let's help you along this journey. And that's okay. Everywhere is different. Another player that comes to mind is another Brigham Young legend.
LDS Thursday. LDS Thursday, Latter-day Saint Thursday.
Is Fred Warner. Fred Warner was an outside linebacker, gets put in the Niners system with D'Amico Ryan as his coach. Great marriage, and a couple injuries. He steps in the middle linebacker. They have a good system and a good foundation. And now look at Fred Warner, all-pro Fred.
He is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch play football, too.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. And he talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chirps.
He's a shit talker.
Yes.
Now. Yeah.
And
he shit talks me. And I'm like, yo, I'm the older brother in this relationship. Relax.
We're on the same side.
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway about that Niners team whenever they played the Seahawks, and I got to go watch them in Seattle. First of all, Seattle, obviously, awesome. That place was incredible. And I was sitting in the booth with the man who has an incredible tie, Al Michael has an incredible voice, in Herb Street, and I'm watching it, and I see this Niners team not only fly around and they're bigger and faster than everybody, but they're shit talking.
Oh, yeah.
After every single play. I'm like, I love this team.
This is awesome.
And then you watch like what Purdy's doing, and then you're able to imagine like, oh, this team's going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this year it is the year, right? I mean, this is the year.
For sure.
We got Debo doing a weekly appearance, right, on media. We're learning a lot through the Up and Adams show.
Right.
We got George Kittle. He does podcasts every single week. So we're going to learn a lot about this voyage that the Niners are about to take this season.
And Fred and his wife do a podcast, too.
Boom.
There you go.
So let's go. They might become the team of the season with how damn good they are, but the Cowboys are like, excuse me.
Yeah.
We're still in this NFC conversation.
Philly, too.
We got some good teams, man, to chat about. A lot of good storylines. Can't wait for the next hour. We got AJ Hawk joining us. We got Nick Saban joining us.
Okay.
And Travis Kelce. We'll see you then. We're about to break some news. Ladies and gentlemen, a franchise has called to its fans to find a new logo for their team. Cleveland Browns said we need a new dog logo. We put an elf in the middle of the field, and people had a little bit of a backlash because we have the dog pound. We are dogs. Now we need a new logo. So they said, hey, any fans want to go ahead and draw one? Go ahead. They have two finalists, ladies and gentlemen. One fan created, one internally created. And it is now time for the Cleveland Browns fans to learn their fate of the next dog logo. Bringing in the box that will obviously tell us what is the winner is Brownie the Elf.
Wow.
Brownie!
Get here.
Does he talk?
Brownie,
No.
they're just staring each other down. I do not believe he speaks. Let's go home.
Stand up, Diggs. Come on.
Oh! Drum roll, please. Replacing the elf. Trust me, brother. Always be a place for you. Always be a place. Sorry, Brownie. Wow. Dog logo. So this is a dog by a dog for the dog.
Hell yeah.
Rated in wheat, Brownie.
Suck it.
Oh, let's go shake their hands. Let's go shake their hands. Truce.
Okay.
Hey, that was fun to see. Good AFC North. Oh, Brownie said last word. Brownie, in the elf community, how high are you in the hierarchy of elves at the top?
Not more than Harry Potter.
Whoa. What about these cookie elves? They're pretty.
Whoa!
What does a Brownie the elf eat, if you have to guess?
Poop.
What do you eat? I don't know. What do you do?
Brownies.
What is it?
Did Brownie wear the whole situation all the way here from Cleveland, you think, in the car?
What do you mean this is every day? This ain't a situation.
Yeah, he wakes up.
He said this is a costume. AJ said this is a costume, potentially, and you're not an actual elf. That's what AJ said.
No, AJ.
No, not me.
AJ's up
AJ
there.
Hawk.
Right there.
That guy.
Right there.
Flip him off, Brownie.
Yeah, let him know.
Come on, tell him.
Brownie didn't eat. He eats bugs.
Yeah, he picked your bogies.
Yeah, elves love picking bugs.
Yeah, they big. Is that the second favorite thing he eats? I wonder.
Oh yeah, because
Bugs.
Brownie's number one,
Yeah.
bugs number two.
Bugs 2,
Dog poop around the stadium.
3.
Dog pound.
Yeah, yeah. For the dog.
He thought he was getting
Dog
into.
pound.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, here we go.
That's not a free throw
Right in
though.
front of the free.
Bunnies here, Brownie.
Oh, but that's it. You lose.
No.
Stroke.
The runner.
All right, since you made it on the second one, we'll go 20 people, $500 because
Okay.
Brownie's an absolute baller.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Why?
let's go.
This show sticks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this LDS Thursday, September 21st, 2023. Hour 2 of this program starts now. Football is happening tonight. Week 3 of the NFL season shall kick off with the Giants and the Niners playing in San Francisco, more specifically Santa Clara, California, on Amazon Prime, with Herbie and Al Michaels and Kaylee Hartung on the call with that kickoff show. That's Carissa Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, old Andrew Whitworth, Ryan Fitzmagic, and Richard Sherman. Probably an appearance by Marshawn Lynch.
Probably.
In there as well. It's going to be an incredible evening on Prime. We can't wait to kick off week 3. And we're so thankful that the Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn, Cowboys Town Diggs also here. Coach for 36 years of football, 18 of them in college, 18 of them in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Chuck Pagano is here.
That boy Chuck.
And 9-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champion, world champion. And the reason why today, one half of the reason why today is called LDS Thursday for the Latter-day Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, BYU legend, New England Patriot legend.
Thank you.
Kyle Van Noy. Played on the Lions, too.
That's right.
And Dolphins.
Yep.
And Chargers. Joining us now, a man who is the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. A guy who has beat COVID multiple times.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He graduated from Ohio State, and they would say this guy's our most prestigious graduate because he would go on to become the president of Ohio, which he is right now. College football national champion, Super Bowl champion, a man who drank his own urine.
Yep, that's right.
For 11 years so that he could play in the NFL alongside his teammates and for the great fans of the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Thank you for that sacrifice, AJ. Thank you.
I only hope that Coach Saban is on the line awaiting his interview with that great intro you gave me.
Well, listen, if he hears that we're talking to the president of Ohio, he might say, all right, what do we got going on? This guy obviously very committed to his craft. We appreciate you joining us here, AJ. Big game tonight, obviously kicking off week 3 between Giants and Niners. We chatted about it a little bit with Michael Lombardi. Coach Chuck Pagano has little faith in the Giants defense against this Niners offense. How are you feeling early, first look at it here on the show?
I mean, honestly, I I've heard Chuck say it sounds like he has some pretty strong beliefs about this game, and you guys are trying to gas him up a bit. But I just have a hard time right now with what the Niners are doing, picking anything against them, especially with Saquon Barkley not playing. That just feels like it's a tough task for the Giants.
And Kyle Van Noy, obviously you can't talk gambling because you're a free agent and there's already been gambling suspensions and everything like that. Yep. But a 14-point game, very possible against a team that is better than you. I think we all know that. And if you run into a buzzsaw, you can get 40-pieced in the NFL. That's literally what happens. I don't think the Giants feel like that, though. Second half, they played their best ball that they played, obviously, this year. Do you think they can continue that momentum even without Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, I do. Think they can continue that momentum. I think Daniel Jones got a big, step of courage.
How about him going crazy?
Yeah. What, after he scored, he was flexing on him? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Needs more of that. But
agreed.
I just, with white chocolate, Christian McCaffrey and what he's doing running that rock right now, that's a tough task.
Jay Will, obviously, the absolute phenom.
Oh, yeah, elbow pass.
Out of West Virginia, the original. But Christian McCaffrey.
And he's talking, too. You saw, you know how you talked about him talking trash, the Niners talking trash. He's talking with them now, too. I like it.
Yeah, he threw guy.
Yeah.
And then he said, get off me, I believe.
Yeah, he said, toss your ass, bitch.
Yeah, did not expect that out of Christian McCaffrey. You know, his first name's Christian.
That's right. Bingo.
And that ain't holy what he's doing there. But his leg almost seemed to hyperextend as well. And with how explosive he is as a running back, you always worry that he's going to get hurt because he never goes anything but 100 miles an hour. Yep. And then him talking through that and going on to he is different. Christian McCaffrey's different.
Yeah.
And there's a reason he is paid what he is paid. Speaking of being different, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to the greatest of all time.
Yep. Yes.
This has become a real treat, and I can't wait for this entire season because I believe this year is going to be different than most years for this particular man. But he's going to handle it incredibly. You know why? Because anytime this guy has a whistle in his hand and a team in front of him, he's going to coach them like a beast. Greatest college football coach of all time. A man who's a 7-time national champion. West Virginia boy at heart, though. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Nick Saban.
How we doing today?
Coach, fantastic now that we see your beautiful smiling face. Okay, let's dive right in here. There's been a few days removed from the last game. Big storm. Everybody's talking about your hair. Thought you looked good, by the way. Thought you looked good in that rainstorm. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I felt good.
Yeah, you looked good. You know what I mean? Like, that was my big takeaway. Everybody's talking about Coach Saban in the middle of the storm walking out there. I'm like, Coach Saban looks good.
Great look.
Looks young in there. You know what I mean? Because with me, when I'm in public, the rain comes, we got a spray tan coming off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We got hair all over the place. You looked phenomenal. You need to know that. Now, let's talk into the game that we got coming up here against Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, massive part of the conversation anytime he's playing against you because of your history. You obviously hear that, see that, and what are your thoughts on how big the media makes your guys' relationship?
Well, I think everybody sort of makes the relationships with guys that have worked here, and we play against each other, and that's always a big story. Lane did a fantastic job when he was here. We kind of went from old school ball to modern day ball, I'm going to call it, in terms of doing some things with RPOs and vantage throws, and really sort of set us off for the future of what we do on offense and what we've been able to do on offense. So I have nothing but respect for Lane and the kind of coach he is. They're doing a great job at Ole Miss. I mean, they're one of the best offensive teams in the country in terms of yards, production, problems created by what they do. So this is a challenge. It's always a challenge when you play against, good former assistants.
Hey, he's singing your praises as well. It's great to hear. It is a beautiful thing to kind of watch take place. And I think we all watch Lane Kiffin mature as a coach, not only in the NFL, but also in college to get to the point where he's at now. I think we're all incredibly pumped for him. And you're talking about his offense. Let's talk about your offense, Coach. Okay, so interesting decision. I think you would even say this, right? Not playing Milroe, having Buckner and Simpson play, and then now we go to Milroe. Interesting from the outside looking in. I assume there's a plan. What was that a plan going in? How do we get to that decision, Coach, if you could walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think that, first off, the other quarterbacks had very close competition, and they didn't really get much of an opportunity to play. So we started this conversation with the fact that, hey, we're going to maybe look at somebody else playing the position, may last for a quarter or whatever. But then you got to get ready to play, and I want to see you handle this. And everybody handles frustrations a little differently. And I think sometimes you got to direct your frustration and make it a motivator. You can get upset by it, you can get angry by it, but you can also get motivated by it. And I always remember, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he has three people when he gets into the Hall of Fame: the coach that cut him, the coach that benched him, and the guy that took his place when he got benched. And he said, this directed my feelings for my whole career in terms of how it motivated me to try to be the best player that I could be. And we want our players, when these things happen, to direct their feelings in a way that's going to help them be better players. Jalen did that this week, and I'm pleased with his performance. He's got nothing to prove. Here, he's our guy. He's the guy that, I have confidence in. And I just had a meeting with him a little bit ago and clean up some fundamental things and watch him play.
So the internet reacted to him congratulating Simpson, I believe, whenever he made a big-time play. You're seeing all those things, judging all those things, analyzing all those things, I assume, testing his leadership, seeing what he's made of?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in the end, this will make him better.
Hell yeah, we can't wait to watch. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, back in the day, you used to hear coaches tell teams, like, hey, block out the noise, don't listen to it, don't worry about whatever's going on outside this locker room. Is that a thing coaches can even say anymore? I mean, the noise is everywhere. We know they're going to see and hear everything. You just try to teach them how to deal with it?
Well, I think the main part of that is I don't think you're ever going to get them to, not hear it, not see it, not be a part of it. Everybody's on the internet. Everybody's on their phone. But I think the key to the drill is to direct those feelings in the right way, which means, okay, when I get to practice, when I come to meetings, I'm focused on the things that I need to do to go out and be able to perform well. And you can't let those things upset you. You can't let them frustrate you. You have to direct that energy in a positive way, which is pay attention to detail, play with discipline, do all the things that Coach Talk always talk about, and try to get it right and let it be a motivator to you in a positive way, because it goes the other way sometimes too. When people are singing your praises, I call it rat poison, right? Because then your humility gets tested, and you're thinking, well, I don't have to go practice today. I don't have to work hard today. We got it. We got this. We got this. And then you're developing bad habits, because you're listening to how good you are, and then you go out and play and you don't play well, get frustrated. So all these things are about directing feelings in the right direction. And that's a challenge for all of us, but certainly something that's important to do at this time in the season, especially for our team.
I would like to spotlight one thing you brought up there about how handling humility and testing humility whenever people are kind of lifting you up. When I was in college, I was on full scholarship to kick balls. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Did it. Way to go. Good for me. Shout out me. Wasn't offered by any school you were coaching at. Thanks, Coach. But only kicking 70-yarders as an 18-year-old. Don't worry about it. But when I got a full scholarship to school, my parents don't have a bunch of extra money, so I didn't want to ask them for any. And at the time, the scholarship checks were what they were. I actually got a loan out in the amount of $40,000 to just go have a good time. And if I always put myself in the modern position of these guys, it's not great, Coach. I should have focused a lot more. We live, we learn, we get older, we mature. Some of these guys are making millions of dollars to play college football as 18, 19-year-olds. And I wondered about the ripple effect of commitment, discipline, accountability, hard work, because if I was those kids, there's no way I'm showing up at 6 a.m. off-season workouts with the same attitude. Have you seen that? And how do you think, do you just think this generation's different? They can handle it? I'm a doofus? How do we handle that situation? Because I think we're going to miss out on some greats potentially because of maybe getting too content early.
Well, I think that it obviously tests your maturity as a young man when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, and you have a little more to deal with than what we did back in the day when we went to school. And I do think that it's a challenge to how hungry you are, how motivated you are. We all went to school because we were trying to create value for our future. And we were scared to death that we were going to either fail out of school or fail as a player or lose our scholarship or whatever. And that was a a real motivating factor for us. And, players have more, which I think it's good for the players.
We agree.
I'm not against that. So I don't want anybody to think I'm against that. But I do think you have to have a certain amount of maturity to be able to manage that and not get satisfied with what's happening, that you have more, but how does it affect your motivation on the field in terms of how good you want to be and the standard that you want to set? And that comes from kind of within who you are. So I think it's important to have the right kind of guys on your team now.
Yeah, when you're recruiting, obviously these are things you're trying to pick up, little tales. I think we talked to Prime and Coach Prime, and he said that when they're on these recruiting visits, they'll hear something said between either the player and the mom or the player and the dad or the uncle and the dad say something. And it's like not even a part of the interview, but he hears something. He's like, ooh, that's a little something that we have to hear. How do you kind of figure out who's right for your culture? Because it feels like over the last, I don't know how many years you've been coaching, it feels like you're a factory of just great player, hard worker, somebody who's willing to sit behind another 5-star. How do you find those guys? Like, what are some of your tricks and tips, I guess?
Well, I think you got to ask a lot of questions. I think if you ask direct questions, whether it's to high school coaches, guidance counselors, the players themselves, like I ask a guy a lot of times, what do you want to accomplish as a college player? They tell me, and I say, well, what does that entail? And what do you have to do to be a great player? So if the guy's sitting there 50 pounds overweight and he says nothing, then I'm like, oh, this guy must not have the right stuff, But
he's got a lot of stuff
that he needs to do to be a great player. Then I say this guy can self-assess and he's got direction and goals and he's motivated and wants to do the right things. But I think that is the most difficult thing to try to evaluate in recruiting. It's not how fast a guy is or how high he can jump. It's, what is his mental makeup? What is his psychological disposition toward being successful? And that's the hardest thing to judge.
So I assume you have good faith in your team right now, going through some stuff. It's real loud outside. Everybody has kind of written you off. I'm sure you've heard it. Alabama, what are we talking about? They don't even know who their quarterback is. You know what I mean? They're writing you off right now. I assume you have good faith in the cut of your team's jib this year and 100% faith we can go get it still?
I do believe in our team, and I think we got a lot of good people on our team. I think they've worked hard. I don't think we've executed and played as well as we're capable of. So that's a work in progress and something that we need to improve on and improve quickly. It's attention to detail, having discipline to do the little things right, creating those habits every day, in practice in terms of what you do. So that's a challenge, and that's something that it'll be interesting to see how this team responds to that challenge because it's something that we need to do better.
All those things are things that are, I think Alabama has like 97 guys in the NFL right now, or 93 guys. Like you have like 93 guys in the NFL and something. West Virginia has like 6 over the last 40 years or something like that. I mean, it is just insane the success you've had. Kyle Van Noy has a question about one of your former players.
Hey, Coach, I feel like I've played for Bama with how many teammates I've had, but I want to talk about one specifically, Dante Hightower, a Bama legend. He was just down there a couple weeks. Billy B. Belichick called him Mr. February. I was curious what nicknames you had of him since he's a 2-time national champion, and if you have any nicknames for any current players right now. Just want to get a personal level with you.
Well, Dante's one of my favorites. He was an outstanding player here, but, I have a special affinity for Dante and all the guys, Julio Jones and Mark Barron and all those guys. They all came to Alabama when we weren't any good. Mm-hmm. So, and they really created the legacy and the standard of what we want to try to accomplish in the program. And even though I don't have any nicknames for him, he's an outstanding player, fine young man. He was actually an honorary captain a couple weeks ago for one of our games. And it's always great to see those guys come back. Marcel Darius was with them. So, those guys, they sort of set the tone for who we are and what we are and the standard that we have around here.
I appreciate it, Coach. I know you got a dry sense of humor in there, so I know there's one in there.
Yeah, that's classic. Coach, those first group that just say, I believe in you. Yeah. You know, that has to feel. And also, you recruiting your ass off. Dante Hightower is a great football player.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like I assume there's a lot of schools that wanted his services, and obviously coming and setting the standard in Alabama is a beautiful thing. He's called Mr. February in New England.
Oh, yeah.
What a nickname.
He won 2 Super Bowls, basically, the Atlanta and the Seattle one. A lot of people credit him for winning those.
Oh, hey, Mr. Football Season. AJ Hawk has a question for you.
Coach, I know you played DB at Kent State, obviously, but speaking to a lot of your former players, they would always tell me how you would come alive, like when you coached the DBs and you coached the secondary. Is that something that you kind of have an affinity for? They would tell me if a guy would make a big play, get a pick, they'd see you dancing down the sidelines or something during one-on-ones, and they would always love to try to impress you in those one-on-ones.
Well, you know, one of the things that I love is coaching players. And I started out as a quarterback in high school, only lasted 1 year as a quarterback in college because I was too short, couldn't see. So they moved me to defense. I never played defense in my life because coaches would never let the quarterback play defense. So I had some really good coaches and some really good mentors, and I just developed an affinity for loving coaching the secondary. And I like coaching the players and, you know, did it in the NFL for a long time and had some good mentors there too. So one of the things that I learned from some former coaches that when you become a head coach, do you want to really sort of not be your best assistant? You know, Buddy Ryan was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals when I was coaching at the Cleveland Browns as a defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick. And I asked him, what's the biggest difference between being a head coach and, you know, when you were an assistant? You know, you had the best defense in the world with Chicago Bears in the 80s and all that. And he said, I was always somebody's best assistant. And he wasn't saying it in an arrogant way. And he said, I don't think I'm being my best assistant as a head coach. So one of the things I've always tried to do is coach a lot of special teams, coach a lot of defense. Never really coached offense, but got to know offense to coach defense. So I always tried to be my best assistant. And coaching the secondary, coaching defense was always something that, you know, I kind of grew up doing, and I try to be my best assistant as a head coach.
I love that you still got that in you. You know, like coaching special teams is a beautiful thing because I think NFL teams appreciate it because you got starters running down on kicks. You know what I mean? I loved it. Like as a kicker and a punter and somebody obviously a big advocate for the field position game and how you can look at that stat normally after the score. That's the top stat to tell you who won the game. That's a pretty important one. Then turnovers, the next stat, and then field position, normally the next indicator stat on who won the game and who didn't win the game, and turnovers affect that. But you putting starters out there is always a big time story. I feel like commentators make a big deal out of it. I'm assuming a lot of people have tried to talk you out of that, or no?
Not really. We try to limit it to, you know, guys playing on 2 teams. But, you know, what I tell guys on our team, and we try to teach everybody on our team to play special teams. When they come in as freshmen, I don't care if you're 5-star, I don't care whatever, you need to learn how to play special teams. And I tell them stories about, you know, guys that made teams for 8-9 years in the NFL and never really played a position. They were just special teams players. I'm not talking about specialists now. I'm talking about, just, you know, play on special teams for 8 or 9 years, make the Pro Bowl, playing on special teams. And you can't be a backup player on an NFL team if you can't play on special teams. I don't care if you're a running back, a linebacker, a DB, wide receiver. So these slots are important, and your knowledge of being able to do that is going to extend your career or maybe even give you an opportunity to have a career. So that's something that we teach guys. They learn to like it and love it. And we don't have guys begging off of special teams because they kind of see like, you know, this is something that I can create value doing as well.
You're playing chess, bub. You're playing chess. We appreciate the hell out of you joining us. Have a great game this weekend. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hi, Pat. Good talking to you guys. Have a good one, man.
Oh, hold on, Coach. Hold on, before you go. What do we do this week that wasn't football? Anything? Did we do anything that wasn't ball this week?
No, not really.
Love that. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of Alabama, Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. I mean, I ate, right? Yeah. I didn't eat a football.
Slept a little.
I drove home one night.
From football. And then guess the next morning, guess what? drove to football. I guess he's got like a Ferrari dealership or something now.
Weapon.
So I assume in that car ride, it's a good time. What do you hear whenever you hear Saban talk, Coach? Obviously, you never coached alongside him, I don't think. Were you ever with Coach Saban?
No, never worked for him.
Oh, your mic's off. Mic's off.
No, it's off.
Your mic's off. Can't even hear you. Can't even.
I feel like we're Chuck kind of right now.
Yeah, it does. We feel like Chuck.
We are
can't
Chuck.
hear a word that we're saying. You know what I mean? We need the ears things. We're sitting there.
You got me now?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, we do.
So Petey.
Yeah, it's not your fault. You need to know that. But hey, how you handle adversity is how you handle life. You know what I mean? Everybody knows you handle adversity in a beautiful way.
After I got fired in 2017 here at the Colts, and I took that year off, gap year in 18, Coach let me come down and spend a couple days with him in Alabama. So I had is everything good?
Yeah, you just like on the screen right now. You got two microphones.
Pretty cool.
I mean, you look so absurd.
2 mics.
The show looks so absurd.
Hearing aids might be getting in the waves. Are we throwing that out there?
No, they're unplugged, dude. They're sitting over the ears.
That's
over
my
there.
worry. Now they're just looking for you.
What is your problem?
Really?
I'm asking questions
what do you guys-
that need answers, okay?
Oh,
Sue me.
this guy's deaf, and it's hard. Now all of a sudden he's
now
ruining the show.
screwing up the show.
Jeez, what
Well,
a
we
bad
got
guy.
on stage, and there was, audio coming out of the big board, too.
Boy, I
Typical
pray you
asshole.
never have any adversity in your life.
I don't-
That's all I
Oh, yeah.
want.
Hey,
Connor.
look, Chuck, I got tinnitus, okay? So don't talk to me about adversity with ears.
Do you have ringing?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's worse whenever we flood ringing into these headphones every once in a while.
Nick's the best. He's all ball.
How come?
I went
Yeah.
down there. He knows what he's talking about. He's a tireless worker. He's detailed as all get out, and he develops. He develops coaches. Look at his coaching tree. His coaching tree is bigger than the one you saw in Avatar, right? Everybody lived in.
That's a big tree. That's a good tree.
Big ass tree.
Good movie. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Good reference.
But I went down there, spent 2-3 days with him. Joe Panunzio was on the staff at the time. He's now at Philly, assistant. Yeah, another Paisan. But he's just so
We know.
detailed. And being a defensive back guy myself, played DB, coached DBs my entire career. Outside linebackers early in my career, but it was always DBs, and always studied and talked to coach about DB play and techniques, press technique, off, all this kind of stuff. And to me, there was nobody better in football than
As he
than
was
Nick
talking,
when it came to that.
as he was talking about the Browns and the other places he coached in the NFL, I only remember the Dolphins and not working.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even, because I obviously knew that information that he had coached other places, but like it's almost like your immediate NFL coach Saban thought is like Miami didn't work out, just like Petrino,
Right.
just like Urban Meyer, just like these other guys, and it's like I'm happy he said like Buddy Ryan. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Buddy. Buddy Ryan. Yeah, in the NFL coaching, and then other in the NFL coaching. So like, let's remember that I've kind of been there.
Maybe that narrative, maybe that story is a little bit different if they go down the road with Drew Brees.
Yeah. Instead of Cole
Maybe
Pepper.
that's a whole.
Absolutely.
In my
definitely-
opinion,
What if he's just an NFL coach?
Yeah.
Be crazy.
That would be crazy.
no, and you don't have the 7 national championships. I mean, come on.
It's the same with Bill. Like what if Bill went to college at some point? And that thing he said in there about how the offensive guys need to know defense before they can coach offense. When Belichick had McDaniels and Patricia start, Patricia was offense, McDaniels was defense.
And then what? And then
then they
later on,
flipped.
he said, "You know what, Matt Patricia?
You were good.
You know offense.
Yeah.
You're going to be the offense coordinator."
Go get him.
That worked out.
Run a couple
that- I mean,
screens.
that was the thing. I mean, if you went and worked, all those guys went and worked for
8
Bill,
and 9.
right? They were 20-20 guys. 20 hours a day, $20,000 a year. That's what you signed up for when you went to work for Bill Belichick.
Damn
That's
right.
hilarious. All right, this is what you're going to get. This is the
what you
Patriot
did.
way.
And that's how, but you started you did personnel, you did offense, you did defense, you did special teams.
It's like a university.
Those guys
Yeah.
knew
Boom.
every
Football
facet,
101.
every facet
Harvard.
of the game. And when you look at these coaching rosters, like there's 30-some coaches now on a coaching staff. And he still has probably the smallest one because he doesn't want a whole bunch of cooks, in the kitchen. He doesn't want a whole bunch of he got his guys. He's got his top lieutenants, and he's
still be
training
great.
everybody.
He can still be great. They're cooking him on the internet right now.
Cooking.
They are cooking him, and I guess
What is-
Saban too.
About what? It's the quarterback. Like they're just trying to figure out the quarterback, aren't they?
Yeah, but then that automatically just leads right to Tom Brady. It just goes, everything just goes immediately to, well, how have you been? Well, how have you been? It's real easy
Without
when he got
Tom.
greatest of all time taking a pay cut, and he can kind of. That's what the internet. I'm not saying I believe that. I will believe in Bill Belichick forever and ever, amen. I was very lucky to be in the NFL participating whenever his reign of dominance was still very real. So, like, I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of cause for fodder. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that about the whole thing. And I guess we have a guy literally that was here in the building joining us, LDS Thursday.
Yeah, and he's a full
LDS
team.
Thursday, you know what I mean? This is good news. Whenever you think about the Bill Belichick kind of run, and obviously it's greatest of all time. Doesn't get talked about as the greatest GM of all time ever.
Nope.
Only talk about him as the greatest head coach of all time.
Used to.
He was also the GM of the greatest dynasty of all time too, so maybe we should start throwing that in there. Do you think he still has it to go win? Do you think Bill Belichick in the modern era with how everything is now, without Tom Brady taking pay cuts and being who Tom Brady is, do you think he can still have one last run that he's definitely going to be chasing the dragon for here, at least for the next decade?
I'm just never going to count out Billy B. He's just that good of a coach. I think he's dealing with a lot of things that he hasn't in a while with how the offensive line is. I mean, there's a lot of turnover there right now, a lot of injuries there. They were out last week with their top 3 cornerbacks, so that kind of hurt them as well, even though they held Tyreek and waddled pretty good. I just think he has the juice. He really wants that record, I think. Knowing him and his personality, he really wants that record.
Well, so that was the last dynasty in the NFL. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the biggest pieces of the current dynasty that is being built right in front of our faces.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to go down as the greatest tight end in the history is from Ohio, said Ohio guy. Ladies and gentlemen, host of the New Heights podcast, and a guy who's dating, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Kelce. Had to, obviously. How you doing?
Your intros are always electric, Pat.
Well,
They're always electric.
I mean, it's only getting better and better for you, pal, because as you get older, you're seemingly only getting better. You're back now. Obviously, the knee injury was something that kept you out for a week. We saw you twerking. Shout out. I listened to the New Heights podcast. 100-yard jog. All cameras are on me. Got to give him a show. What am I, boring? Never. How is the knee? Is it 100%? Is it 100%?
I'm an Ohio showman.
Absolutely. Is it 100%?
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about it anymore. Yeah, we're past that. I felt like an absolute idiot not being able to be out there for my team. But that's why you just always got to, just make sure that everything's firing in the body. Make sure you're all tuned up and really thinking about the movement that you make out there on the field, so you don't hurt the team come Sunday.
Well, so let's talk about the team. Kind of a newer team, right? It feels like they're talking about who's going to be the weapons, who's going to be the pieces. Feels like every year you guys are still trying to find your identity until about mid-season or so. Feel the same over there? And why do you think that has been a trend with your team?
Every year presents its challenges. I think we've just been playing behind the sticks, to be honest. That's the biggest thing. Penalties, the drops, I think all that'll get cleared up as guys get more comfortable in their roles. We got a young team, and on top of that, the chemistry just has to keep building. And that's why you got the leaders in this building, and that's why, Big Red always finds a way to get better as the season goes along, like you said.
Yeah, always. It feels like your best ball is in December, which is what every team is striving to do.
Gotta be, baby.
But I just want to let you know, for those of us that bet on you guys blindly every single week, it does get expensive early. Go ahead, AJ.
Trav, why'd you fight half the team this past training camp? Every day it seemed like you popped up a clip and you're sitting there throwing down with somebody. It was very entertaining on our end.
We loved it
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty fired up. And I still am pretty fired up. I don't know if you saw this past game, but I was getting after it a little bit, getting a little chippy. I just get that from being in Ohio, man. I'm sure if I went to a few training camps that AJ's been in, I'm sure he's throwing some fists. There's definitely no doubt about that. But seriously, on a serious note, in terms of this throwing hands, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah, I hated that you apologized. I hated that you apologized. We were so mad. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, we know.
We were so mad that you did.
I know. I felt the entire world attacking me for it, and I hear you. It's football, though, baby. It's football.
You're a good teammate.
Yeah,
that's
it. How
the
many
biggest thing. Just trying to be a good teammate too, man.
Yeah, apologize. Okay, I get it. How many years are you in this thing?
Going on 11.
Congratulations. How many Super Bowls?
2.
$100 million in the bank?
No big deal.
Still fighting.
Almost.
Still fighting guys in training camp? You are a leader, bro. Like that, you have it all. You already have the resume. You already have the Hall of Fame.
Appreciate that.
And you're still getting fired.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's real deal. Like that is. So you apologizing. I'm like, this guy's still gives a shit in the middle of a training camp practice. That does not matter. We should all be striving for that. Now, if you connect on a guy, you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
If you get a guy and he's out, then you got to really start talking about a problem.
I was throwing like no look hooks. It was like I didn't even know who was back there. I just was pissy and just pissed off and just, yeah. You got to keep it together, boys.
Yeah, keep it together. You're an adult. You're an adult, of course. But I appreciate the fact that you're still all in. 11 years in, and I know I just watched the Kelce doc that you're a part of, and listening to you talk about the respect you have for your brother is a beautiful part of that documentary. And I think it's why New Heights Podcast is so damn successful. You guys are obviously electrifying, but you clearly love the hell out of each other. That whole doc started as him saying, this is going to be my last year pretty much. And then now guess who's back again? Kelce's back. Tell a friend. For you, 11 years in, you seem to be playing your best ball. You're in great shape. You recovered from a bone bruise in your knee pretty quickly, I think, for being an old-ass man. Have you thought about the end, or is that not something that even kind of crosses your mind?
It hasn't crossed my mind. I'm having too much fun coming in here, fighting guys in training camp. I thoroughly enjoy putting on a helmet and just going out there and competing. I think my brother actually mentioned it in the documentary. There's just something you get from being out there and competing on the football field that you don't get anywhere else. And I like to live that dream as long as I can. That's for damn sure. But it's funny you mentioned the doc and how he, it was meant to be a retirement thing. A lot of that footage is over the past 3 years. He's been thinking about retirement for a while now, but winning, that helps you stick around, as well as, the Brinks truck always helps you stay around. So Jason's still eyeing retirement, but as long as the Eagles are willing to, pay him as one of the best centers in the league, I think he'll still be playing.
Well, and I guess Sirianni's showing up with a keg every offseason, too, for the backyard.
I'm telling you what, that's a nice little bonus feature you get.
Yeah, that's not a bad play there by Sirianni, who we all know is a dog. Just like you, just like your team, though. We got a stacked roster, even though there's some new people. Patrick Mahomes, I believe the boys will probably ask questions about, but I want to talk about Chris Jones being back. And we've obviously seen you guys celebrate. We saw your New Heights plea about, hey, Chris, you're scaring us. Him being back in the locker room. What is it under the hood in the locker room as opposed to just on the field? Is he a leader of the squad? I assume he is, and you guys definitely missed his presence. That wasn't really talked about much.
Yeah. No, I mean, you felt it as soon as he got back. It's you never know what's actually going on in someone's contract talks and things like that. And you kind of hear through the grapevines, what's going on. And it's not always true. It's not always real. But it's wonderful to just have my guy back in the building. His presence, as you saw on the field on game day, is unmatched. I mean, the guy went from the couch to just being an absolute game wrecker in his first game back. And that's just what he brings. He brings that tenacity. He brings that ability to make plays on every single down. And as a leader, he shows up every single day. When he's here, man, he is 100% all in.
I appreciate the fact that he clearly missed being there. The deal, you look at the deal that he signed, it's like, okay, there is potential upside a little bit, and he is a free agent. They franchise, we get it, but also not enough of an upside to be like, there had to be some personal, I need to be out there. You know what I mean? Which, if that's what came from him sitting front row in that suite opening night, good on him. Good on the agents for setting him up and be like, we just got to get his ass back in there, right? Just, you love this, remember? We really enjoy this. And then he's back in there crushing it. It's awesome. Let's talk about another guy, dog on your squad. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Travis, after Pat signed his new deal, I'm just curious, did you text him and say, like, hey, I'm going to need you to toss a couple shekels my way? I think I've done a lot in getting you that new deal. And I also assumed that, like, you always figured that he'd kind of be your guy for the rest of your career, but Pat always talks about how the Colts cut Peyton Manning, so you kind of never know. But how refreshing is it now that this is done that he's probably going to be your quarterback for the remainder of your career?
Yeah, I mean, that was, in my mind, the goal the entire time. As soon as I saw that guy start slinging it around his rookie year, I was like, yeah, I want to play with that guy right there. But listen, I bank off of Pat in the offseason. He got me in the State Farm commercial, got me in the Subway commercial. So, you know what I mean? He's throwing me a bone when he can.
Yeah, free Coors Lights everywhere.
We got to deal with the cap over here.
Okay, so let's talk about that. And free Coors Lights, obviously, everywhere. Right. I've never seen you two together. They went down the mountains are blue. Yeah, they had to do what they had to do. Let's talk about the cap, because there's a lot of people that have been speaking for you. They're like, if Chris Jones gets a new deal, there's one person in that building who has a mustache who should just walk right into Veach's thing and go, excuse me, if we are going to be paying things, it's not only the best tight end, but probably best wide receiver as well. You, I think, have proven to be an incredible team guy at all stops. Has there ever been a thought where it's like, I deserve equal value, at least something? I'm already getting underpaid because I'm a tight end, even though I'm a wide receiver. So those price points are different. And then let alone in the tight end market, I'm not even the top guy. How do you keep that out? Because most people, that is like, it spoils them almost. Like even if they don't feel that way, people telling them, and then it creeps in, and then all of a sudden it's like, it is rat poison for the entire situation. How have you kept it out of there? How have you done it with how loud it's gotten?
I don't listen to the noise. I know I get paid a lot of money to be able to do what I love. And I have a lot of fun coming into this building every single day. So me, holding out or not being in here, I don't see a scenario where that happens. And on top of that, I let my agents handle all of that. I don't ever want my who I am as a person to be kind of affected because of the money situation at hand. So I let my agents handle all that. They can be the bad guys of, what I should and should not be getting. And then, I just go out there and I just ball, man. I can't tell you how fortunate I know I've been just to be able to get, the per year that I have playing this game, man. I do it for free, and I actually have done it for free, getting fined a few times. But I'll do this shit for free, man.
Did you get fined for punting that ball? Good punt. Hey. Good punt.
I don't even know. I told you, I thought that thing was about to turn over, man. It must have been heavy wind in the face.
Bro, you're holding that thing sideways.
It's all those Ohio State special teams camps my dad had me going to as a kid.
Good motion. I mean, you had good swing. It feels like you got through it and everything. I mean, it was beautiful. Is this going to be a new thing?
Yeah.
Look, that was
it
magic.
It might be. I might. The thing is if I do get fined now, I'm going to be a repeat offender if I do it again, and it just keeps going up. So I don't know if it's the best financial decision.
All right,
knowing that I'm getting underpaid as a tight end.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you building a little leverage there. Right there at the end, a good businessman, let the agents do their thing, but also let's help them. Hey, if you turn one over, though, you know what I mean? We'll pay the fine. I'll pay the fine. You know what I mean? That's good for the brand. We got the greatest tight end of all time booting balls. Try to turn one over, though. You know what I mean?
Punt it out of the stadium.
Bingo.
Out of the stadium.
Get it out.
So you're saying I got to straighten that thing out a little bit?
Yeah, straight and then straight through it. You know how to do it. Obviously, you've been to the camps. It looks like it. You put that thing out into a concourse.
Oh, baby.
Oh, we'll pay the fine. We will pay the fine.
I'd say no more. Listen, I'll look up. I don't know if I can get it all the way up to Arrowhead's concourse, but we'll see. I know Pat Mahomes, the last 2 times he's played in Jacksonville, has thought about if he runs one in, he's going to throw one up in the pool. So Jacksonville's probably got the most unique stadium for this.
I played down there twice a year, dude. What a party. There's people in those pools, no clue a game's going on. But boy,
why would you buy any other ticket in that place?
Well,
scorching hot.
1,000 degrees down there. You got Jackson Doville, the mascot. That dude jumps off the top light, bungee jumps his way in there. I think that's the only time they turn from the pool to the field. Holy hell. And then they go right back to it. Here we are at Arrowhead. I think you can put it up in here, can't you? I think you can get it up in this level.
Okay, sweet level. All right.
Yeah, sweet level's good.
Listen, I'll give it a try. I'm doing it. If I get in this weekend, I'm doing it.
Let's go.
Yes. I'm going to send that thing.
Let's stretch the hammies. Don't need our name associated with any of
Yeah.
that. Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead, AJ.
Trav, we watched the quarterback show on Netflix, and they're following Patty Mahomes, and they're showing the period that they would have to where you could kind of make up his own plays and kind of present them to Andy. And I'm curious how involved you are in that situation, if Andy's ever taken any of your suggestions like that.
Yeah, I've been pretty much, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I've been pretty much 100% on creating plays over here. He's only took like 2 or 3 from me over my like 10-year span, but yeah,
all touchdowns.
I've been bringing all touchdowns. One was a 2-point conversion, but yeah, all touchdowns. We're in the zone. No, I'm drawing these things up for everybody else.
Wow.
Constant team guy.
Great teammate.
Is that because you were fighting him earlier? Is that why?
Yeah. Fight the guy and give him a touchdown.
Exactly. Just gain attention. Just gain attention and just get out of the way.
So how far in advance do you guys know the plays that are absurd that you're going to run? Like the whoop-de-doo ring around the rosy thing?
I mean, we were running that in practice for probably 8 weeks, 10 weeks before we pulled that thing out.
Okay, so these are well practiced.
Yeah, it has to be, right? It has to be like synchronized. It has to be like clockwork out there, or else we look like a bunch of idiots.
You were about to say the Super Bowl one? How long? Like I assume.
The Super Bowl one in what was that? Rose Bowl, right? It was the Super Bowl in Miami. where we all did the spin at the goal line.
Oh, yeah.
That was in from like the preseason, and we didn't use that thing all the way up until the last game of the year. So these things can just be in the back pocket for forever.
Man, I love that. I assume you guys enjoy it too. Like, because I feel, yeah, right? What is Big Red?
When Pat has to just airmail it into the stands because everyone's gloved, that.
And then does Big Red say, "Oh, you guys thought that was cute. I told you that was going to work." What is your guys? It feels like because it never gets chatted about with Big Red, and you even calling him Big Red tells me that you love the man, and obviously you've been on record of saying that numerous times. But he's like, "Hey, our socks are up, right? We're on time." He's like a pretty old school style coach. I don't think that gets chatted about much because you guys are doing the ring around Rosie and winning, and everybody loves him. What is it about him you think that has made you guys the team that you are?
That's the discipline factor, man. I think you hit it right on the head. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of little stuff that seems like it doesn't really mean anything, but at the end of the day, it gets us looking the same. It gets us looking together. It gets us well put together. That's why, you see the Army or the military together. They're all got their, they're very well put together. Very, that's an intimidating look to a lot of people. I think Deion Sanders has taken that approach at the college level, which is even more important. Let these young knuckleheads know this isn't how you do it at a professional level. Man, how fun has it been watching that guy?
Oh, so much fun. I've been talking so much shit, dude. I've been talking so much shit, and I have nothing to do with it. I'm just like, we're going to beat everybody. It's awesome. Trav, isn't it?
It's making football so much more fun. I haven't watched as much college football. All across the board. I stayed up till 1 a.m. watching the Colorado State game last week. I mean, it was electric. I can't wait to see what they do this week.
You missed 3 quarters. That thing was over at 3:30. I mean, that thing, it was impossible. Wasn't it? That one was late. We saw it all. We're like, all right, we're all excited. Colorado's playing Colorado State. Game day's going there. What time's the game? 10 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Eastern.
Didn't start till 10:20.
Hold on.
It is must-see TV. I'm going to have to watch.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Last question here from Tone Diggs.
Yeah, Travis, obviously Eric Bieniemy goes to Commanders, and now Nagy's the offensive coordinator. Does anything change with the offense, or is it always just Andy's offense?
No, I think it's Coach Reid's got 51%, as he likes to say. At the end of the day, he's the one that's going to make the call and make the final call. But I think, it's a collective group, that's putting together these game plans, these plays, what the playbook looks like. And with that being said, yeah, it changed direction a little bit when Coach Nagy came at the front. But I think for the most part, it has to change year in, year out. We got a lot new pieces. We got more wideouts this year. And a lot of guys can go out there and make plays, man. So it has to keep evolving, right? I think it's in a great spot so far. This week's game plan is
tough team.
Oh, we like it.
It's a good game plan, baby.
We're happy about it.
You got me fired up. Yeah, we got a little short yardage nickel today, so we'll get after it and get to see how many first downs we can get on third.
Maybe take it a little easy.
Yeah, I don't know if you're keeping up. Chicago has no distractions this week.
At all.
They have no distractions this week.
Listen, but also high alert. High alert. What happened in Indy when they got their head coach Ken last year? Came back a little fired up, got a win. So it's just you always, you can't be distracted by that kind of stuff. It really fires up, the team, and you never know what happens, man.
I appreciate that. And before we let you go, and we appreciate your time, we've had a little Kelce celebration here in the middle of the week. It's been great.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's been great.
Great addition.
I follow the New Heights pod since episode 1. I think I told you immediately after the first episode, hey, show's good. There's a lot of shows out there, a lot of shows come and go. And there's a lot of shows that stink. And I'm not saying it's necessarily the people's fault, but whoever told them how to put it together just was a bad decision. And as soon as we heard you two, Ohio guys, do your thing, it was like, this is lightning in a bottle. Not only are they the best at their positions in the history of the NFL, but also genuinely care for each other, successful seasons, which is obviously a lottery, and then you guys care. Yeah. Your personalities are incredible. So I fell in love with New Heights, just like the rest of the world. #1 sports podcast on earth.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, not easy.
No. That means a lot coming from the #1 sports show on earth.
No. Listen, we don't play those games. Listen, we are not for everybody. You guys seemingly are for everybody. But Pardon My Take had #1 sports for like a decade.
Yeah.
They were, the whole thing, still massively influential. We all have learned from them and big fans of them. But you guys taking that thing is a big deal in the business of the podcast world. And I am one of the 92%ers, okay? So I'm in there. And then I was listening, and I'm like, man, Trav has taken advantage and made the most of every opportunity, and you missed one there with the friendship bracelet at that concert. And as I was watching I was so heartbroken for you, because I know how seemingly listening, I'm like, this guy obviously was putting himself out there, was excited, he had anticipation and nerves. And as a 92%er, I was heartbroken to hear the news. And then all of a sudden, I hear, wait a minute, the friendship bracelet was potentially not delivered. It was just a little bit delayed. Your love life is being talked about by the whole entire world right now. If you would like to expand upon anything, please, we would like to know.
You're going to give me the floor?
Floor is yours.
You're going to give me the floor? I'll tell you what. It's fun. It's hilarious how much traction this has actually got. I think it's right now. It's like that old game in school called telephone, where everybody's just whispering in each other's ear, just hearing some random stuff, and then you got, especially no one actually knows what's going on. Well, especially when you got Jason Kelce on live television telling people just both sides. He doesn't know. It's true. It's this and that. He goes on Thursday Night Football, gets a big dub, gets asked about it by my guy Tony Gonzalez because his daughter had to know. And he tells everybody, the first thing he brings up is the catching Kelce, who I thought everybody got rid of that. Like,
no, a lot of those. Hey, I've seen a lot of those videos. You did great. You did great.
Travis has been having a whole lot of fun since then, and he's still having fun. And then not even a week later, tell everybody that it's 100% true. I mean, the guy is absolutely ridiculous. Can't stay out of the freaking headlines. He was on the show yesterday saying he wants to be, or he not that he wants to be, but the fact that everyone thinks he's Ian Rappaport of my dating relationship. Boom. Please, everybody, stop asking my brother about.
We didn't ask. Want to let you know. Nope. We did not ask. We did not ask to put him in that situation.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate that.
You hate this? You hate that this is happening, though?
Yeah.
You hate that this is happening?
No, I mean, it's life, baby. It's life. I threw it out there. I threw the ball in her court. And, I told her, maybe I've seen you rock the stage in Arrowhead. You might have to come see me rock the stage in Arrowhead and see which one's a little more lit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the near future.
Dog. Travis! Hey!
All right now.
All right now. Hey, let's go.
All right,
we're talking power couple. The NFL's in the game. We appreciate the hell out of you. You're the man. Good luck with everything on the field and in the suites.
Yeah.
You're the greatest, ladies and gentlemen. Travis Kelce. Thank you, buddy. All right, so we got the bottom of it.
Yep.
There we go. Did we?
Yeah.
What is it?
Certainly talking.
I missed the bottom.
What, the bottom? What are you talking about? She's going to be at a game. That's what we just heard.
At a game. He's going to pump the ball into her suite.
Boom. Sweet level. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he takes it
She's going to catch it
right into her
She's
hand?
going to catch it like a punt.
I don't know a lot about Taylor Swift, okay? Wife, big fan. Sure. Watch her documentary. Dog.
Yes, beast.
Absolute beast. I have so much respect for the work ethic and everything that she has accomplished, obviously. And then you start listening to her songs, like, okay, this is diary. She is an incredible storyteller. Like, okay, so I'm not her demo.
Sure.
Okay?
No.
Like, I very much understand. But I have a feeling just from watching the way she operates, he punts that ball, she's snagging that one-handed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think she's snagging it one-handed, probably with a microphone in the other one, and then national anthems coming afterwards. Best. Like, she's a beast, bro.
Runs a 4-3.
Yes.
She is a beast, man.
That would be legendary. Risen at a football game.
Well, Travis Kelce says, hey, Taylor Swift, don't know if you want to come to the home of the Chiefs. Good for him. Now, and I said this whenever we originally heard the rumors. There's been musicians and actors and, influencers.
Right. And just members of, rich families.
Whatever. Yeah, all that type of stuff. NFL being represented now as the knight in shining armor and the gentleman. I'm proud of Travis Kelce. And we said it the first time. We'll say it again. He's the right guy for the job.
Bingo. Yeah.
Right guy for the job. Good luck out there, you two.
Go get him.
You two.
Right. Good
Hope
luck.
you guys fall in love and get married and have the next Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. Treat him right, too.
That's right. We love Travis over here. Just for you Swifties, want to let you know. We love Travis. Maybe not Kyle Van Noy, because Kyle Van Noy and him got in fistcuffs on the field.
Yep.
But we love
him.
Travis Kelce.
Yes.
I didn't have him ask a question.
Fun fact, he actually has a fine that he had to pay. He shoved the ball somewhere he shouldn't have.
Into you?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, right in the front of the
Have you guys shook
Front or
hands?
back?
That's why I said I didn't want to say where it was.
Okay, all right. Well, he was soaking, maybe it sounded like. Anyways, we are we're out of here for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We continue on YouTube and ESPN Plus. We cannot wait to chat with Manti Te'o and give our picks. Sports Center in 7. Cheers. Goodbye. Nailed it. Right on the screws.
Let's go.
I think it was.
Boom. Whole week he's been on the screws.
Yeah, we're dialing it in a little bit. We had to get the clocks figured out.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Because there's a 5-second delay because fuck!
Right.
So then the 5-second delay was off, and then we had to reset the clock. And then did we set it? Well, we set it 4 seconds. Why did we set it 4 seconds? Well, because this clock is matching up with Big Ben in England somehow.
Exactly.
And then their clock at ESPN not matching up with ours. So it was a whole thing. This week feels like we're on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Feels like we're doing
Found the
it.
groove.
Big Ben's not the standard that we all go off of.
Yeah,
In Pittsburgh it is.
Sure it is.
Okay. What is it?
That clock in the mountains.
Something Antarctica or something where Con Man talks.
Yeah,
GMT.
there's a clock in the mountains somewhere. Bezos built. It's a massive clock.
Yeah, Greenwich.
That's one that no battery power or anything, right?
Nope. Just clicks.
Momentum.
Powered by the sun.
I don't even think it's solar powered.
Yeah, no, it's inside a
Well,
mountain.
the sun and the mountains and the land and the sea.
Together we are planet Earth.
That's right.
Captain
Planet. Yes, you nailed it there, Tony.
So, is there an extra grease board?
Yeah.
Because I had a really good question.
Yeah,
This arrow in my mic.
Yeah,
this,
Chuck, you've gotten a
Connor,
raw end of the deal.
Rough shake today.
Yeah.
Handling them mics though.
I mean, they're trying to send me a message, AJ.
No, we are not.
Coach,
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Just
we're
me,
not.
coach.
Two
Just me.
mics.
Just one
Chuck
department.
looks amazing.
Chuck, just
Looks
one
so good.
department right now. I just want to let
He
you know.
just drew an
We're
arrow
drawing
to us.
dongs on there, Chuck.
I will
Can't
say
draw
you
dongs.
So
did
my
miss
question-
Big Red's LDS.
I know he held up Big Red being LDS because it is LDS Thursday. He
told
did go
you
to
I played
BYU. We
against
talked
him.
about it earlier a little bit with him.
Chuck gonna ask about the bed bunking or whatever.
Soaking?
Yeah, soaking for Andy Reid.
No,
Is
when
that
you
what you're
kick
saying?
when you kick the bunk bed on the bottom.
Yeah.
Quaking. Wait, is that called quaking? Is that what you guys do? Earthquakes? You know,
Somebody-
somebody remember we had to do
Appreciate
this
that, AJ.
before.
Told you.
Man. Appreciate
We
it.
called him. He was on the elliptical or whatever. we called
Yeah.
him.
Somebody's
Tread the
underneath,
road.
Yeah.
right?
You're the
Oh,
guy. Hey, you can make so much money doing that with your powerful leg.
Yep, earthquaking.
Yeah.
You sent me to BYU. I'm making 7 figures.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you
No question.
get the best 34 seconds of your life. Let me get you in there, pal. Ah!
They'd be paying you over the tutors.
Oh, jeez.
What's that, pal? What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
They got tutors to do quaking?
What's that mean?
No, I'm saying they'd pay, like, instead of seeing a tutor, they would rather go see him.
How is the education?
Of course they would.
Super smart.
It's like Ivy League.
Really?
Yeah.
Not enough grass, though? That's
Yeah. Well, not actually Ivy League, but Ivy League.
No, it is. I promise you, they're like up there with Ivy League.
Public
as far
Ivy.
as, like,
Public Ivy.
it's private.
Private Ivy.
Yeah, you're right.
BYU's
It
private.
is.
When do you guys play Harvard this year?
I mean, they should.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
Connor, why are you hating on BYU? He's got a big win.
I'm not hating on BYU at all.
They're about to win against Kansas this week.
I don't
We'll
know.
see. Yeah.
Good football team.
They're a good
Kansas is a
squad.
buzzsaw right now. Kansas is a buzzsaw.
Different Kansas.
You were just on the wagon last week.
That was
Now
I
what?
haven't made a decision yet. That was
Okay.
weekly. Situations are situational,
Okay,
pal.
fair.
I think your first intuition was probably correct.
Mine?
Yep.
Just right there?
Yep.
I think so, too. I'm seeing the board pretty good right
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you are.
I'm excited to make the pick for this evening because 10.5 feels like a lot, but then you start thinking about a buzzsaw, and it's like, is it?
They could win by 4 touchdowns.
They really, you know what I mean? 2 tuds is easy.
I mean, Dimes is over under rushing yards is when it's that high.
Heavy.
You know, it's 39.5. You know that the books know if Daniel Jones isn't doing everything, then they're going to get killed.
The thing about the over-under on Daniel Jones's rush yards is it actually ruined a segment on the show how confident we were in Daniel Jones's ability to run. You remember this, AJ?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Run it, Hassel, back was something that was damn near impossible for Hasselbeck's schedule at the time because of how much he was traveling. But also, while Hasselbeck was having his first segment, he said, "What do we know about Daniel Jones?" He asked us.
Yep.
So we rattled off every single thing we have ever learned about Daniel Jones. And it kind of railroaded the whole segment.
A little bit.
We kind of ruined it. That was 100% on us.
Bit off the rails, yeah.
But the first thing we all said was over-under rushing yards going to go over because he doesn't get chatted about in the athletic quarterback thing much, but every single game you see Daniel Jones moving and scooting. He runs. He seems to have a great head on his shoulders. Duke, very similar to an Ivy League school.
Yep.
But tonight it's like 30-something as opposed to
39, I think.
39 yards. That's a lot.
You know
That's
whose fault this is?
Who?
it was always in the 20s, and then RG3 gave him that really innovative nickname, Vanilla Vic, I think, or something like that, and now his rushing total is shot up. So we're all screwed.
That's a great nickname, man.
It is good.
Holy shit.
What else do they have?
Chuck, you tell me you got the whole depth chart right in front of you.
I mean, it's either they're going to throw it to Hyatt deep. That's how they got into last week's game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take the top off, and he's going to hit a dig to Darius Slayton, 86, over the middle.
And Waller.
Or if things break down, he's going to run.
What about
Waller?
And they're going to put in some quarterback runs because they got to try to control
What about
the
Waller?
clock.
Why are you selective
And Waller?
deaf all of it?
Yeah. Wandale
Matt
Robinson.
Breida. So Matt Breida is going to go back to San Fran, right, and just have 100 yards? No,
Maybe.
sir.
Oh, yeah. A revenge game. It's a Breida revenge game.
Could be.
Excuse me?
It's a revenge game for Matt Breida. He was on San
Oh,
Fran.
I guarantee you, yeah.
Hey, how come Wink? How come Wink?
frothing at
How
the
come
mouth.
Wink? What you thought? I don't know if it was Lombo or you that said the safety position not being like a coach on the field is probably affecting Wink's defense right now with the Giants. Is that how you see it, or what do you think?
Well, I think that has something to do with it, and then youth. I mean, he's got 2 rookie corners out there trying to navigate, and now tonight with all the motion, pre-snap, post-snap.
Yeah, that's linebackers too, though, with Simmons getting traded, Isaiah Simmons getting traded. I don't want to say it wrong because you got on him.
Bobby Okereke.
Being new in that system too.
We're
being
cultured.
week 3.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So to your point, just the communication of the motions and their eyes, they got to be really dialed in tonight.
Hey, so how come some teams do that and not every team does it? Because I assume for every defense that is an issue for you guys.
Yeah, some teams have more communication than others. Like, for example, Staley relies a lot on the safeties to communicate, and in New England, there's a communicator at every level: safety, linebacker, and D lineman. Lawrence Guy is the communicator.
Beast.
So he's in the middle. He sees.
He'll see motion at like if a tight end motions, he's good enough to see that and bumps over by himself instead of me saying, "Hey, get your ass over." Like he'll do it himself.
Chuck, that's a little bit
normal.
more.
That doesn't happen everywhere.
No, that doesn't happen a lot of places because D linemen are like, "Huh, tell me." Yeah.
Hilarious though. D linemen are hilarious.
No, you go YMO. You got a 3 techniques set to the tight end. The tight end moves. 2 defensive tackles and sub just slide. We got the 3 over here and the 2 over here, and they don't move. And so linebackers got to go up, and if you see them, tap them on the ass. Hey, kick to the right, kick to the left.
And while you're doing that, you're potentially missing something. How come, is it just you don't want to put that much expectation on everybody and not everybody can handle that? Is that kind of what that is? Why don't coaches do that more often?
As far as the communication goes?
No, just like every level. Hey, this player, you do this. Linebackers, you have the power. Like almost empowering people, I think, is that type of expectation.
Not everybody has the big brain at every position, and they don't want some guys talking, to be honest with you. Some guys can talk and start communicating, and they're like, some guys will look at you like, okay, we got this.
Then you make the wrong call, too,
They might
Chuck.
be giving you the wrong defense. They might, hey, we're in quarters coverage. We got a bunt. We're boxing this, and they might be talking about something totally different. So, you want to get as many guys that know what the hell they're talking about to communicate and get across the board. But all this jet motion, you got to decide, hey, are we bumping, okay, or are we running? Are we going to seesaw safeties?
Yo.
And then Wink wants to play man. And I don't know if he can play man with these young corners. That's what he loves to do. And so he gets up in there, and then you got Dory Jackson, and you got another corner sitting on the same level, and they run a rub route, and a guy gets picked off. That's lack of communication. That's a Dory. Dory's up on his guy. The other guy needs to see a Dory up. I got to get off. I got to get on different levels. Otherwise, we're about to give up a big play. And they're going to see a face full of that tonight.
AJ, you were about to say that not everybody's on the same page. I assume you've had to experience some of those things as the guy that's normally talking from the sideline?
No, I'm just saying, like, in theory, it would be great to have, secondary communicator, backer, and D-line. But, yeah, if you have the right people. But sometimes, all of a sudden, a D-lineman could see something that's not there. Oh, no, he starts bumping them the wrong way, and then you start arguing with everybody. So, like, sometimes there's too many voices. And like we say all the time, if you're all wrong, you're all right. And if you have one person doing it, even if it's wrong, at least all 11 are on the same page.
We had a linebacker who was awesome. at the Colts, and he was making his own checks all the time. And every once in a while, he was right. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, and there's guys that are given that freedom, right? Like Ed Reid, Troy Polamalu. There's numerous. This guy, I think he thought he had it. It was awesome, but there was a couple times where he was wrong. And boy, just as an observer, the conversations coming off the field from the person who's going to get blamed for that potential MA and the reason why it went, and then him fighting. That's an interesting thing because it's almost like player-only meetings too, where like some people are talking up there and it's like, oh, you're the last person we need talking to this particular team. It's almost going to get worse in here. How do you pick and choose? You got to monitor that, I guess, as coach.
I mean, like Darius. We're blessed to have Darius on your show, right?
Butler.
Huge brain. And every question anybody ever had, any question I had about how to handle a certain bunch route, call Darius, text Darius, ask Darius in the meeting room. Some guys like to talk, some guys don't, to AJ's point. And it was like, as soon as we asked him, 2 seconds later, it's like, hell, why didn't we think about that? That makes a lot of sense. And that's how we're going to do it. So to have a guy like that, especially at nickel, because they're doing everything. Because 2x2 to 3x1, 3x1 to 2x2, coverages change. And he's got to be running with the motion or seesawing and communicating that front to back, linebackers to safeties, and getting that thing done.
It's a lot. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm happy I just kicked the ball. What's that, Connor?
Well, like to, what this is being talked about with New England having the 3 layers, like Bill strictly drafts players that he knows are coming from places with coaches that he knows. Like, I mean, Darius Butler is an example. Obviously, that's where, he got drafted to New England. And then you think about, like, both the McCourty brothers. Alabama. They ended up there. Alabama, Saban. Yep. Like, Michigan, D-line. Like, there are some players that Bill knows are getting coached by people in college that he can then mold into his.
It's so funny to me to think that Bill Belichick's like, I don't have enough time to scout all these players, so I'm going to scout the coaches. And then I'm relying on the coaches that they're.
Well, he's got guys he trusts too.
Bingo,
right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So
Think about him traveling college to college, and instead of talking to the guys, they'll see that rainy photo, but then he'll just talking to the D-line coach, like, tell me what you think about this. What do you think about it? All right. So this guy's a good coach. So if we get a guy from here, we could probably bank on him being okay. What did they tell you when they brought you in from Detroit?
It was funny. I got traded, and after I was there, after I got traded on that Wednesday, it was a padded practice. I go out to padded practice. I haven't even talked to Bill at this point. It's like, 11 o'clock already. It's for practice, and I didn't talk to him until the punt period. He's like, man, no, get over here. And I'm like, all right, like, let my dumb ass jump over. And he's like, spinning his whistle. He's like, I always get my guys. You're one of my guys. I've been watching you for a long time. And, like, awesome. When he said that to me, it instilled, like, man, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, that is. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was dope.
Because there's a chance you could say, like I did to Saban, like, hey, you didn't offer me a scholarship. So you can
That's how I feel about Chip Kelly. I feel the same way about Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly, who I think they're going to beat Utah this week.
That would be huge. That'd be a massive. Dante Moore, that freshman quarterback, is a guy. He's a guy.
Yeah, he's a guy. But Chip Kelly, he offered my best friend in high school, and he didn't offer me. And I saw Chip in those meetings when you go for what is it?
E-games, e-sports?
It's here.
Combine.
Combine, yeah. For the Combine. And I sit down and I said, Chip, I was like, what happened? Why didn't you offer me? That's my dream school. I would have went there in a heartbeat. He's like, well, and I was kind of talking shit to him. I was like, don't make the same mistake, because I was supposed to go in like the top 40 picks. And he ended up picking Michael Smith III, who unfortunately didn't pan out for the Eagles. So then he ended up getting fired multiple years later. He was at practice for the Patriots, and I said, you made the same mistake.
I assume Chip, I've got to meet Chip.
He's
great
a great
personality.
Guy.
I assume he laughed at that. Yeah, he enjoys, I think, that type of shit talk, which is very, very awesome to be able to do that. And congrats to you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't think you were good enough for Oregon.
Yeah, it feels so good when you can do that sometimes.
When it works out,
Yeah.
When it does it. There's sometimes it goes the other way, and you just got to kind of, you're the Chip Kelly of the situation.
Yeah. It happened to me in Detroit. Let's just start talking about it.
What did happen in Detroit, you think?
Nothing. I didn't play.
Why?
I don't know. Can't tell you.
Place is a shithole.
No, I wouldn't go there. I'm not going to say
Jeez.
that.
I thought that's where I thought
Who's the DC?
He's actually the DC of the Steelers now.
Terrell Austin.
Terrell Austin. Yep. Yeah.
He just didn't like you think?
I don't think so. And that's okay.
You think it's because it's LDS Thursday?
Yeah,
I think so.
There's a chance. You never know.
But he liked Haloti Nada, so.
Oh, there you go.
Andy Reid, LDS. Mm-hmm. Kyle Van Noy, LDS.
Puka
Nacua, LDS.
Haloti.
Manti Te'o, Haloti Nada.
Zach Wilson.
Who's that tight end for Baltimore?
Dennis Pitta.
Yeah, Pitta, right?
Pitta.
He was because him and Austin.
Collie. Yep. Hey, did Austin do a weird thing with his gloves, like changing his gloves out?
So I guess he wore a new pair of shoes every quarter.
Yep.
I mean, I guess he was pretty high maintenance.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And everybody liked it. Everybody liked it. It wasn't he was very humble about it. I don't think he was like, he was just like, this is just how I am.
It's what I need.
I'm so sorry.
So that
order he would change?
No, I'm being dramatic, but it was something like that. It was like.
It was his gloves and his cleats, because it happened to me when I got to New England. He played for New England as well.
Yep.
And they were like, you don't do any weird shit like I was like, what?
Everybody liked Austin. It was just like that
great
thing.
Dude.
That thing kind of came out of left field, I think, for everybody. Like,
Excuse me?
I didn't expect
You guys left Joseph Smith out of there. Didn't he play? He played in the league for the Packers.
Yeah,
back
that
then?
guy could get to the bottom of it.
He could. Yep.
Greatest
Really good.
shoveler, right, in the history.
Unbelievable.
In the history.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sure there's been other shovelers out there.
AJ,
That guy in black.
Yeah, AJ's face.
I do have a question for you going back to, transitioning back to what Coach Pagano was saying about you don't have to go too crazy. When you were in the Packers, I'm sure you guys had players where you were like, don't say anything to him, let him just play. Is there somebody that you counted on as your right-hand man where you looked back? Like for me, it was Devin McCourty and Hightower, where I didn't even have to say shit to them. They just knew what was up. Who was that for you in Green Bay?
Yeah, a big chunk of my time in Green Bay was Morgan Burnett, safety. Morgan I talk about all the time. He was awesome dude, awesome player, but always could count on him. If I had any questions, I would go to him, especially too. Nick Collins, early in my career, unfortunately, he got hurt and couldn't play anymore. But yeah, those two guys in the back end, no question. I mean, I played with Charles Woodson for a long time. Yeah. Charles was on a different planet. He was all like, Charles knew everything that was coming, I feel like. And we would you'd pepper Charles with questions all the time.
That shit is so tight when you're on a field like that with somebody like Charles Woodson, where you're like, yeah, he knows what the hell he's That was like Calvin Johnson for me as a rookie. I look over to the left. I'm like, close left. They're like, what the hell you doing, Van Noy? And I'm like, I'm closing it to the tight end. They're like, that's Calvin Johnson. And I'm like, oh, he's so big.
All right, let's get to a break. We'll be back on the other side with Manti Te'o, breaking down this weekend. And also, we'll get to the bottom of this soaking and quaking thing.
Yeah, gonna have to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably should.
Especially if this BYU team's going to go on a run.
Yeah.
That was why I asked Austin. Because Mitt Romney was running for president.
That's right.
Yep.
And I didn't know anything about politics, but from what I was being told, this man was potentially going to be running the country that I was just getting money into, so I wanted to learn about what was going on. So that was what I asked Austin. I said, Austin, I think one of you is about to run a country. Mm-hmm. So and we had a 35-minute running session where he just broke it all down. And I was like, all right, I've heard more absurd shit. Yeah. All right. And then cheers, keep it moving. He was a good guy. Austin was a good guy.
Good at football, too.
Yeah. Damn solid.
He led the NFL in receptions, touchdowns, and yards one season, and then we all saw what happened to him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
And it happened a couple.
Concussions?
Yeah.
He had 3 in one season. Yeah. Bad.
They were bad ones. That was old football. That wasn't this football.
He was so good. He was going right into it, though. Like you hear about the new shoes and new gloves, every single thing. Yeah. People think he's high maintenance or whatever. Austin was diving zero fear.
No.
Yeah.
Zero fear.
Baller.
Tinted visor.
So sick. Great
cool.
style.
Very cool.
Sweatbands. I mean, the whole thing. He was swagged out, bruh.
Yeah.
Hey, Austin, you're probably going to see this. Hope life's good, baby. To your family, too. The most attractive family of all time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you seen his?
I know all of them.
Dad, mom, brother, whole family, just the same good-looking human being. So you see somebody walking down the hall of the stadium, it's like, that's a collie.
Yeah.
That's a collie right
Must
there.
be cool.
That is certainly a collie. Just like Evan Fox. Every one of the Evan Foxes looks the exact same. Mm-hmm. They all look like these barbarian men who are just incredibly attractive, except for the neighbor who said he was a fox.
Cousin.
And he heard some hell for that one.
Did he?
Yeah, he deserved it. It was
We brought it up on the show.
hilarious.
We brought it up on the show. I didn't know what the conversation was back home.
Oh, no, it was awesome.
I brought it up immediately when it got mentioned as well.
Yeah, the next day had to. Oh, they say I'm the fifth fox.
Let's
They
do that.
don't
Hold on.
say that. They don't. Optically, they do.
Blind people? Got a couple blind people?
All right, we're back in 5. We need to move on. Just an attractive bunch, the Collies.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. Way to go.
They did it. Good seed.
His brother Dylan played in Hawaii, I think.
Yep.
BYU and then Hawaii. I think his dad had a route running academy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, great crew.
And it worked.
It worked.
Yeah, good.
In the
good
house,
academy.
it worked. All right, on the other side we got Manti. We'll take some phone calls too. 1-833-432-3663. 1-833-4-DADO. Can't wait to hear from you. Can't wait to wrap up this beautiful Thursday and then give our picks officially.
Here we go.
For the game kicking off week 3 this evening. All right, we'll see you in about 5. Take 5.
Tonight is a night where everything's going to be remembered. Every play, every sweat, every fight.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told them all that I blow soon, soon. Know as a child back in the womb.
Hey, let's have a national championship Monday, huh?
My name's Pat McAfee. I've started the show 2 different occasions already. This will be the 3rd. Wow. It's 2023. We eat adversity for lunch. There's just so many different forms of gummies coming in my mouth.
Boss man, can you do a kickflip?
100 for it? 100 for it? Oh! Come on, bro. That was awesome.
Hey, this little teddy bear is cool. This little round thing is sweet. All right, I feel pretty good for this ESPN party. Let's go have a blast in there. Boom. Need you to do a red carpet. I've never done a red carpet before.
I got a poop, sorry.
I don't know if now's the time.
We're invited to the ESPN party, and now we are all sitting on a red carpet. We had no idea this was coming, obviously. We thought we were just getting some free drinks.
A lot of people on the internet say I look tired. What's that all about? I'm a massive fan of Posner. He was getting motivational speeches in between songs. He was playing other people's songs. He was telling people to stay down. We're going to make a moment. Only on the count of 3, we're going to go crazy.
Oh, I know. Sad song. Sad song.
Oh, oh yeah.
A couple of these. Bring it up. Bring it up.
Boost up. What do you want?
What'd you do?
Gotta make this practice game, baby. It's gotta last until 9 o'clock.
Happy birthday. Sack of shit.
So fired up to be here.
Yeah.
I got a necktie and everything.
Holy shit. Tim Tebow's here. Oh my God.
Look at that cut.
The most handsome shot in our show's history. Nick Saban has been spotted at SoFi.
Great work in the back, Foxy. The boys crushed it. Now we got game day, then the mega cast. Let's go.
Hey, let's have a night.
Obviously, the enemy of great is good. The enemy of a dynasty is winning one championship and letting it go. Fran, you're obviously going to Colorado, a place that's been looking for some sort of championship for 20 years. You're also one of the greatest speakers I've ever heard. What are you saying to your team?
You can't get here and all of a sudden change. You don't want to see a different mannerism of somebody, and especially the coaches. See, everybody's talking about the players.
Yeah.
But you got to coach the coaches too.
Did you smile there too? Were you smiling?
I saw a smile. I do that every now and then.
The rat poison, smiling. That's embedded 4th quarter perfection. Matthew Stafford 4th quarter perfection. Big moments Tebow perfection. We got some real magic here tonight, don't we? I love that toad that takes those mushrooms and hitting it. With that being said, Stetson Bennett's 25 years old. He's so damn comfortable. Darnell Washington's the backup tight end. He's 6'7", 270. Brock Bowers, best player on the field. The defense full of dogs. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs go back-to-back. First time since his man and his Alabama squad. I love the Bulldogs tonight, parking all over the place, Coach.
All right, here we go, huh? A little bit of rush from old game day down the field. We went all the way to the roof to come back. We are so sorry. All right, let's roll. I gotta get to the sleep, and then I'm gonna hop over the sleep thing. Look, Brad.
looking at SoFi Stadium, where we'll be crowning a national champion for our college football season tonight. And the Dogs are on the board early. Wide open.
That's the shot that they wanted, baby.
Oh, that's embedded with his second touchdown in the first half. Pick.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Georgia's first down. One-handed. Touchdown. Brock Byers. Touchdown. It is currently 45-7. It is 52-7. Touchdown.
This is just a good old back home ass whooping.
It's a blowout, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. Hey-o. That son of a bitch, Uga, is having the night of his life.
Wow.
It's raining indoors in Los Angeles. This is God taking a tinkle on something magical, isn't it? Let's get what's that?
Get him on camera.
That mustache.
Holy smoke.
Holy smokes.
Are you a firefighter?
Good for you, bro. Thanks for your service. First down, Horned Frogs on a 2nd and 3. Why don't we call a game? Holy hell, Tim Tebow is coming. Tebow, we're live.
We're on.
We're live right now. Welcome back to SoFi Stadium. Right before the break, an extra point almost killed Tim Tebow. Natural instincts had to take in place. I could not lose the greatest human on earth, and I'm happy they gave you that ball, Tim. Tone, act like you're Sonny Dykes, please.
All right, boss. First half didn't go our way. We're doing this for the great state of Texas. You know who else was down 31 points?
Who's that?
The Italians.
All right, let's take the tractor another round. What are you watching out there, Coach?
Honestly, they're better off grabbing Luka Doncic out of the crowd and maybe lining him up next to Quentin Johnson at receiver. Because they can't do a damn thing.
We decided Tebow here, formerly known as praying for this TCU team to do something. So you put your hands up, play that song, butterflies fly away. Thank you for your service, sir. You're a badass, man.
Those other Americans, I wouldn't be here.
What a run, huh? The boys crushed it. This shaking TCU sucks.
You're going to be so mean all the time.
What? That's all she wrote for college football season. What a year. Let's fucking get home. But then as we learn more and more about you, and I think the Masters does a great job of telling stories, and that's why it is so big internationally, I'm a small swinger, half swinger as well. The reason why I do it is because I'm not athletic enough to make solid ball contact, so I have to shorten that thing down, and I'm nowhere near as flexible. I learned about you that your swing is like that potentially because you were born with club foot. Is that the true beginnings of why your swing is the way it is?
I've learned recently that when it comes to club foot, I'm in a less severe end of the spectrum based on the people I've met. But if I have to give you an image, I mean, if this is my leg and my foot, right? Looking from the side, my leg up until the ankle's fine, and then my foot was turned 90 degrees and then another 90 degrees as well. So the whole outside of my foot and the top of my toes were on the ground.
When was this? When you were a child?
I was born like that.
Dude.
Hey, buddy. Look, you get this.
What's up, buddy?
There you go. So,
how are you?
You want to bring me a chip? Look at that. You know that they were hungry.
Hell yeah, that's the most relatable thing. I'm keto. I can't eat that.
So the funny thing is, I was born with that, and then at the time the process is they took my foot and broke it into place. So an specialist broke my ankle in place, cast it right away. My parents saw me with a cast on within 20 minutes of being born. What that did is, when you're growing so much, how you doing? Look at that. Don't cancel the show.
Now you do whatever you want.
When you're developing as a child so quickly, that leg didn't develop the same way. So from knee down, it's smaller. See you later, buddy. Go with him.
Hey, see you, dude.
He likes being on TV.
Hell yeah, you look very natural. And he's incredibly cute.
Yeah.
So from the knee down, just developed differently?
From knee down, my leg is a little shorter. For most Americans, about half an inch. And then my right foot is smaller as well, with very limited mobility. The way my ankle developed, it's barely anything. So for that reason, I had to get 2 surgeries to stretch my Achilles tendon to get a little bit more mobility. But even then, it's very, very, very limited. So when you're talking about loading your right hip in golf, my ankle can't support a full turn. Therefore, 3/4 swing. That's basically what it is in a nutshell. It helps to be a big enough athlete in golf to still get the leverage to hit it long enough. But yeah, that's the way I have the swing I have.
Hey,
What?
let's go. This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sports!
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our Humble the Boat, the Thunderdome, on this LDS Thursday, September 21st, 2023. Hour 3 of this program starts right now. Football is happening. That baby, that's AJ Hawk. The Talks the Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn Cowboys Town Diggs is here. 36-year football coach, former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Chuck Pagano is here. 9-year NFL vet, current free agent.
Yeah.
Huh?
Coming to a team near you.
Come on, Bill.
Soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Van Noy's here.
Yeah.
LDS Thursday. Hey, this is a big deal, I think.
Huge deal. Huge deal for the community. I think they love and respect this. You're huge out in Utah.
Well, I was a little bit worried. I actually asked you like 3 different times, hey, if we do a Mormon Thursday, like, Mormon's going to be mad.
Yeah, no problem.
Mormon's going to be mad. And then you enlightened us, like, LDS is kind of the new, like, all right, LDS Thursday, are you guys going to get mad at us? And he was like, I don't think so. I was like, because it's not just you, Kyle. We also have joining us right now, ladies and gentlemen, a man who is a 3-time All-American in college. In 1 year, he won literally every award that is possible in college football for the position that he played. One of the most electrifying football players you've ever seen. Absolutely jocked right now.
Yeah.
Notre Dame legend, Manti Te'o.
Yeah.
What's up, Oos?
Hey, Oos, real quick. We're going to go to a wide shot on you. When you were waving during the break, you had your hands over your head like this. Can we see it just because this is what we saw? Please.
Do it.
I know you're humble.
Okay, guys. So I was just like this.
Oh!
All I was doing.
Kyle, he would beat your ass. You too, AJ. This dude would man it.
I was gonna come in a pat cut off a little bit, but I wanted to keep that Pats thing. I saw AJ with his black shirt on, and everybody had the black. So I was like, I'm going to join the crew and put a black T-shirt on.
Well, we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate you taking time to join us. And let's just jump right into it. Notre Dame seems to have a squad, Manti. And I know there for a little bit, I assume there was some jaded feelings between both sides because of how it all potentially ended. And we saw a documentary and, buddy, I've never seen somebody get fucked as the way you got fucked. Like, legitimately. After we learned everything, especially with, I think, living through the era of it and what we all assumed nationally everywhere. I'm in Pittsburgh. He's in Iowa. He's in Massachusetts.
Yep.
I mean, this guy's in California, Chicago. The way we all thought it went down, and then we watched that untold, we all owe you an incredible apology, and we want to let you know
brother.
you're a mental warrior, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Legit, you are. So let's move past that, though. Let's talk about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a team this year, right? Do you feel the same way? I feel like this is a squad that can actually go on a run. Ohio State, big test, but this feels good, doesn't it, Manti?
No, it always feels good, brother. I think I really, really love Coach Freeman, man. And that's why I feel like we have a team. It's his second year, leading the team. It's his second year kind of embedding his mentality, his DNA into the team. And I really like what we see so far. And like you said, Ohio State come in this weekend. College game day is going to be there. You're going to be there. It's going to be electric. I wish I was going to be there. So this is going to be a big test for sure.
Yeah, we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you. Feels like
I know, brother. I know. I'm sorry. It's, they say happy wife, happy life. My wife got like this big little fitness appointment thing on Saturday. And so I was like, you know what? I'll forego with this one, but make sure that I'm at the USC one. So I'll be there at USC.
Okay, big rivalry. All right, I respect and appreciate that.
Yeah.
AJ, go ahead, pal.
Manti, is there any truth, like when you hear people say you can't, like, can you win at Notre Dame? Can Marcus Freeman get the players into Notre Dame? Or are their standards still too high to get, like, all the 4 and 5 stars, some of the guys that other schools may get in their school easier? Is Notre Dame, have they changed anything like that? And do you think it's possible?
Well, I definitely think it's possible. I think with the NIL stuff and the transfer portal, it's a double-edged sword in my opinion. Some schools are using it as leverage. I know Notre Dame, they stand on their morals and I don't think they'll ever change on that front, but I think it's going to change and we have the chance to take it to the top because of Marcus Freeman and who he is. You talk to any of the players there, he's a player's coach and all of us who played the game, it definitely makes a difference when you have a coach that you'll literally run through a wall for. You have one of my favorite coaches over there and Coach Pags. Just one of those guys that you love, not just because of football, but outside of the game, that they're invested in you. And, Coach Freeman definitely has done that for that team. So I believe in them. From what I've seen the past few weeks, it's a different team. It's a different feel. They're winning the games they're supposed to win by margins. They're supposed to win it by. Again, you got Ohio State team that's coming in. So this is going to be a big test, not only for the team, but just like the atmosphere. Ohio State got that brand, they got that name. And sometimes when you're in that transition period, you don't know whether guys are going to look at that Ohio State brand and that name and be intimidated by it, or if they're going to come out and swing. So now I have no doubt that they're going to come out there swinging.
We'll stay in your Notre Dame career before we dive into you and Coach Pagano obviously having an incredible relationship. He was singing your praises before the show started as well, so I can't wait to dive into that a little bit more. But let's talk about Notre Dame, because what AJ brings up is a good point. As I've been kind of baptized in the college football community the last year and a half or so with College Game Day, all of the big-time college football people say, like, Notre Dame, yeah, they're always going to be good. Always going to be good. On prime time, always going to be able to do their thing. Not going to be able to win the big one because you're not going to be able to recruit the right type of people, which I think AJ was alluding to. Then I learned a little bit more. Like, you got to live in like a dorm, right? Like, it's vastly different in Notre Dame than anywhere else. It is old school, right? Still at this day?
Yeah, it's very old school. At least for me, when I was there, my roommate was a Vietnamese student by the name of Long Tran. Shout out to Long Tran. Engineering degree. So our schedules are completely different. But I loved it, bro, because it forced me to be a part of the student body. It forced me to be a part of the college experience, to network with people that I wouldn't network in the locker room with. And that's kind of what adds to that Notre Dame experience. You don't know if the kid down the hall from your dorm is the son of a CEO somewhere, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't have that experience if you're all athletes are in one dorm. So that's one of the biggest benefits, I think, to that for sure.
Oh, so you see that as a perk as opposed to me seeing it like.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. Like, you know, when I would run over to the student body, it's not, and I would just celebrate in front of the student body. It's not like an athlete celebrating to students, you know. It's like I'm one of them. You know, they see me in the dining hall, they see me on the quad walking around, they see me after a big win or a loss, walking into the dorm, getting a milkshake. You know, they see me in all of these places. So it's not like I'm just some visitor, you know. So it definitely helped me to be a part of that campus, be a part of that family, and help add to the Notre Dame, you know, the legend of Notre Dame in my own way.
Well, I'll tell you, you added to that as well. I mean, I Googled here real quick right before we went live. I was like, I think you won the Bednarik Award, I think. And then I looked it up. Yeah, you did. You won the Maxwell Award, the Walter Camp Award, the Lott Trophy, the Chuck Bednarik Award, the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, the Butkus Award, the Lombardi Award, and then obviously you're a unanimous All-American.
Heisman finalist.
Like, that is is that the, no, you're I get it. Humble, okay.
Yeah.
Oos. Got it. Got the whole thing. I understand that. But that's like the greatest year any person has ever had in college football, seemingly. It just, if you look back on it, historic-wise, do you ever get caught in your thoughts about what that year was like, ever relive it, or how often are you thinking about those types of games and times?
You know, I'm not really thinking about it all that much because all of those trophies are at my parents' house, so I don't walk out of my bedroom and I see them. You know, I just give them all to my parents. But I definitely relive those moments when I'm on campus, you know, and I get to walk through those hallways. I get to walk into that stadium, even though it's now turf. When I was playing, it was grass, and it was the crappiest grass ever, like around November, but it was grass nonetheless. And the smell of that grass in the winter definitely added to that. But when I get to walk around those halls and I see those murals and I see Touchdown Jesus and I go to the grotto and I take that walk, you know, I definitely go down memory lane. And I don't think I necessarily, honestly, I don't think I think about the trophies. I think about the goal line stand. You know, I think about all of the moments that I had with my teammates, both good and bad. And those are the times we miss, you know, as athletes. We miss the times with our teammates. We miss the times on those airplane rides after a win. You know, that's one of the best feelings is after a win and you're on the airplane and everybody's having a good time and, you know, laughing and joking around, playing cards, all of that stuff. So the trophies are great. I wish I would have had a national championship trophy.
Me too.
But, you know, when I go over to my family's house on Sunday for a potluck every Sunday, you know, I get to see those trophies, and I'm glad that my parents keep them there.
We got potluck every Sunday? Who's winning that? You got
every Sunday, bro.
How we doing?
It's good. I mean, I bought my parents a 7-bed, 5.5 bath house. You know, it's on a golf course. There's more bedrooms than people there. We grew up in a 3-bed, 1-bath. And for a kid, you know, who grew up in that circumstance, for me to give that to my family is definitely one of the things I checked off my list. But at the end of the day, there's I'm like, yo, there's 4 bedrooms that are empty. So my parents turned one of the bedrooms into like a playroom for their grandkids. And so every time I go over there, it's my daughter's favorite place to go because my parents have this huge room filled with toys and a playground outside. And, seeing my parents as grandparents it's different. I'm like, oh, wow, they're different than when I was, they're different as grandparents.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Well, I'm watching my dad. My dad's like a big softie, like holding her.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's holding my finger. I'm like, that seems to be more emotion than I. I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you going on here?
Dad is like, don't do that to them. And I'm like, I don't. That's opposite of what, but okay.
And we live and we learn. Obviously, we'll change the way we view our parents as we have kids ourselves. I think I'm experiencing that, and everybody does, as are you.
Sure.
And I wish you could have experienced your season the way we did. I just want to let you were fucking everywhere, dude. On the field, it was awesome. Just flying and doing it. Now let's transition to the NFL a little bit. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Manti, Pat mentioned all your accolades, at Notre Dame, and I was a massive Notre Dame fan growing up. Went to Catholic school, and I remember watching that. Your time there is just like, this guy's fucking unbelievable. The comparisons to Ray Lewis and Junior Seau and all this kind of stuff. And you're just thinking this guy's going to go to the NFL and have a 15-year career and be a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And it seems like from the documentary that you've kind of made peace with it. But do you feel like you kind of get blackballed in the NFL with all the other bullshit you had to deal with off the field? And do you look at it now like, I don't really feel like I got a fair shake and I couldn't actually prove how good I was?
No, brother, I appreciate that. I don't think I got blackballed at all because the way that I played with the Chargers my first 3 years, I didn't play good football at all. I remember just literally forcing myself to try to produce, like trying to hype myself up to make plays. And it was totally different than the player that everybody saw at Notre Dame. I felt different. And I shared in the documentary a little bit, just the internal and mental battle that I was going through at that time. Like I was in no shape mentally and emotionally to play in the NFL. There was just no way. Like there were glimpses of that kid at Notre Dame from here to there, but there was no way that I was able to produce at any level. By the time I was able to produce, it was my 4th year. I started to feel like myself. The anxiety wasn't there no more, and I was starting to rack up some tackles. Coach John Pagano was my DC, Coach Chuck's brother. And so I was feeling like in my groove, right? And then the 3rd year at Indianapolis, my third game at Indianapolis, I popped my Achilles and it's over. And so it was kind of like one of those moments for me. It was like, man, right when I started to feel like myself, the Achilles goes. So, to answer your question, I don't think that I was blackballed at all. I think the way that I played, you never get a second chance for a first impression. And in the NFL, once you give that impression, they create a narrative about you. And it was a narrative that was true at the time. But then I went to the Saints. I was able to play some really good ball my first year, but there was that narrative already. And I can't argue with, how they saw me because that's exactly how I played. But I was able to finish my career. I played 8 years. I was able to finish my career with, Coach Chuck Pagano in Chicago, had a blast. And the way that I finished it was against the Saints in the playoffs. I had a really good game. And that's all she wrote for me in the NFL, guys. And what do I wish I was still playing? Yeah. Do I think that I could have played? Do I think I could have played better? Yeah. I think if I would have played the type of ball that I played when I was a Saint and on, I would still be in the NFL. But the facts are, my first 3 years in the NFL wasn't good on my end, and so I don't blame anybody else.
Well, I blame. I'm happy you've. I watched a documentary, and I don't think I've ever hated somebody that I've never met more than what's going on. Honestly, man, like I mentioned it at the beginning, and I wasn't going to bring it up because you've moved past it, but I need the world to hear our take on what happened to you because I think it's that documentary was one of the most eye-opening ones of all time, and I think at the time in which where the internet was and where social media was versus where it is now, and you kind of being the poster boy seemingly for this guy's an idiot on the internet and people didn't like the internet at the time and didn't really see it as something like all the ingredients for the story that happened to you, unfair, bro. You just need to know that.
Thank you, bro.
Completely unfair.
Thank you, bro. Well, I think that was one of the most powerful parts of the documentary was trying to take an audience in 2020 and 2022, whatever it was, and take them back to 2012, 2011, back then, right? And so I, shout out to Tony Vainuku and the crew for being able to do that as directors, to take the audience back there to that time. And I'm super grateful that it happened the way it happened. Talking about the documentary and the response. I remember, Pat, you came up and you was one of the first ones. My agent actually sent me the clip from you. I think you was at the Colts training camp, and you guys were on like this little tent, and you're talking about the documentary, and you were the first ones that came up and said something, and just to hear the support, man. I didn't think honestly that's what it was. I remember when the director first told me about the project, I was like, man, why would I talk about that right now? Like, now people who know nothing about the story are going to hear about the story, and they're just going to add to the people that are like, what an idiot. You know what I mean? I didn't want to start a whole new snowball effect on something that happened and then something that was already past. But I never in a million years would have thought that story would inspire people all across the world, would change the narrative. And man, I'm just grateful, bro.
Yeah, we're grateful we got to see it so we can learn your story. Have you forgiven yourself for that? Did that documentary help you through that whole thing? I assume that's with anxiety and everything.
Well, I forgave myself after that third year. So going into my contract year, like there was a level of desperation there for me where I was like, man, this is it. If I don't produce this fourth year, like it's over. And so that's when I met with that mental health therapist. And we had that session, and everybody talks about the last 3 minutes of the documentary about him asking, "Hey, have you forgiven the person?" I said yes, and he said, "Well, let me ask you a second question: have you forgiven yourself?" And that was a whole new dynamic that I never thought that I needed to do. Now, when that happened, and I began to forgive myself, I went into that fourth year, and that's when I started to feel myself again. I remember we started off that year in Kansas City. And I'm standing on the sideline, the national anthem comes on, and I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, here comes the tingling, here comes the numbing of the feet and all of that stuff. And nothing, bro. I was like, here we go.
Here we go.
Be good.
We're playing football again.
Yeah, and I went out there and I had 10 plus tackles that game. We played Jacksonville the next game. I had 10 plus tackles that game, and I'm like, here we go. This is it, this is me. And then, Indianapolis, Achilles, boom. Second quarter.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I was there for that.
You
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there. You took the world by storm, and then your story took the world by storm. And the amount of things you had to hear about yourself, I assume through that entire time, is going to be tough. And the way your body reacted, your brain reacted, I think is much better than what some people would have done. You know what I mean? The fact you're still here, I think, is good, that you didn't punish yourself to the ultimate way. But as soon as we saw that documentary, we were like, immediately, we need to apologize to this man. I hope society has as well. And you forgiving that is very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Thank you, brother.
We have not.
No.
We will absolutely never. The fact that human exists is obviously a deal. Connor has a question for you, Manti.
Yeah, Manti, obviously college football has changed a little bit with the whole, NIL situation. Have you ever, thought about what it would have been like when you were in college? Because obviously with the Untold docs, the whole Manziel thing came out, and he's another guy too during that era that would have been, ridiculous. But have you, thought about that at all? And have you seen the effect of it at all in Hawaii, just because there are so many good high school football players that come out of there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Funny story. I remember my senior year, they're making all of the number 5 jerseys and 5 hats and all of this memorabilia that they were selling. And I remember thinking to myself, like, geez, man, if I could just get like a fraction of that so that I could fly my family out to games. So I would save all of my summer stipend checks so that I could fly my parents out for games. My parents only came to, every year they came to the first game and the last home game. That's it. And so if I would just have enough money to fly my family out there every game, like that would be a blessing for me, So there was one time, my family, we had a tradition. Every time they would come up, we would go to the bookstore and walk around, buy stuff, right? Buy some gifts for the family back home. And so I see all of the 5 memorabilia everywhere. And I remember asking one of the clerks over there, and I say, hey, like, how much money do you usually make on the memorabilia. He was like, well, we make millions a weekend. I was like, a weekend? He's like, yeah, a weekend. I was like, just on all the memorabilia or the 5? He was like, all the 5 memorabilia around the country will make a couple million a weekend off of that stuff. And so I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, like just like if I could just afford more, if I could afford just more than some Jimmy Johns, you know what I mean? Like, like I would just like a good steak dinner, you know what I mean? Like, just give me something, bro, you know? But you know, NIL is one of those things now where I'm glad that they're compensating these kids for their likeness and stuff like that. I just wish that they'll go an extra step further and educate these kids a little bit on how to use that money, like how to budget, how to invest, and help them out that way. I think they're just giving the kid a fish. They're not teaching them how to fish, because one day, as we all know, that money is going to run out. Like, imagine you give a 17, 18-year-old kid couple $1 million. He doesn't know how to use that.
I've no
you know,
idea.
and then he has friends and family everywhere that say, hey, give me my share. Like, there are grown men that don't know how to do that, and we're giving it to 17 and 18-year-old kids. So if they could just go a step further and educate these kids on the importance of financial literacy and on how to budget, on how to say no, you know, how to invest and stuff like that, I think it'll be a way better situation.
Another situation is people are signing bad deals. You know what I mean? Like, there's a percentage of career earnings for the next 100 years baked in the back of some of these contracts that these 18-year-olds who are using their parents who've never seen this money or these contracts before as like their people. It's like there's a lot of shit that can come with that type of stuff. Hopefully everybody can handle it, you know?
Yeah, it's the Wild Wild West right now, bro. You know, and that's what I like about Notre Dame is they're going about it in a very calculated way. I think Brady Quinn them are making like a fun, trying to help these kids out. You know, and this is for a shout out to Coach Freeman, man. So I was talking to an individual. You know, they talk about the Notre Dame network and all of that stuff, and they would say, "Hey, tap into the network." Well, I was a player. I'm like, well, how do I do that? You know, like, do I just go up to a random guy and introduce myself? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, like tap into a network or whatever, right? I was talking to this individual, and so his family owns the college business at Notre Dame, and he said that Coach Freeman right now is connecting all of the players to the network. He's taking each player and say, hey, what do you want to do? What is your passion outside of football? And he's connecting them to somebody where they can get an internship to learn about real estate, learn about stocks, whatever it is. And I'm like, bro, y'all don't understand how priceless that is, that you have a coach that not only helps you on the football field, but is saying, okay, let me connect you to somebody in this business that has done it on the highest level, and let me introduce you and get you in front of these people. Like, bro, that is the Notre Dame experience for me. And, you know, I'm so happy that they have that now, and Coach Freeman, he's doing it for them.
Go ahead, AJ.
I'm curious, after you got drafted, what were your feelings like going into that first training camp? Did you already know before you got on the field that you weren't feeling like normal like you were when you were at Notre Dame, or like how quickly did that whole transition happen?
Bro, AJ, I remember it was 7-on-7. That was the first 7-on-7 in OTAs. And the doubt just was screaming in my head. I remember just like, dude, what is this, bro? What is this voice? But this voice that wasn't here the past however long I've been alive. You know, I've never had that voice just saying, are you sure? Like, make sure you don't mess up. Make sure you don't miss the tackle. Make sure you take the right angles. AJ, you know, being a linebacker, like, if you have any type of voice that's saying that, like, you're not going to produce at all. Like, you got to be a killer, bro. Or like how Pat says, you got to be a dog. Like, if you're not no dog, like, you're not going to produce. And so for me to have those voices in my head, I remember the first 7-on-7, you know, Phillip Rivers comes out there, Eric Weddle is calling out things, and I'm just like, bro, I can't even get lined up myself. But, you know, you put on this face like, okay, I got it all under control. But inside you're just like, man, this is a whole new different world. So it definitely was, from my first 7-on-7 in OTAs, I knew it was a different beast.
Do you miss running your face into people, or what do you do?
Oh, for sure, bro. For sure. My son, he's 8 months old. He just started crawling. He face planted in the concrete. He started bleeding from his nose. I was like, perfect, son. Like, you get, if you can handle the concrete, you can handle a running back. Son. Don't worry about it. you're going to be fine. My wife is over like, oh my gosh. I was like, just leave him. He's fine. He's first of many.
It's a big part of it. And then your dad, who probably said the same thing, is telling you, like, pick him up. What are you doing? Yeah, all right, Dad. A little bit different. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, you were talking about memorabilia and stuff like that. We were talking about that hat is sweet. Where do we get that hat at? Where do we get anything with that logo on it from?
Oh, bro, I might have to, make this a thing. So I did a
make it a thing. What are we talking about? Yeah, make it.
I did a speaking event at this company called Jen, and so this is Jen's logo, and they made me this hat, and I have an all black hat, and every time I wear this hat, I wear it because it says Te'o on it, and it kind of looks like Team Te'o on it. Everybody always asks for it, so I may have to go see my boy Donnie who made this hat and tell him, hey, bro, you might have to make this a thing, and just make a brand or something. I don't know.
Yeah, would buy it.
Might have to, bro.
Yeah, you should just say.
Matter of fact, Pat, I'll send some to you guys. Just let me know how many. I'll have Donnie print them out, and then I'll send it to you.
Hey, Donnie, why don't we just put a link up and say they're for pre-sale, and then let's just see how many buy it. You know what I mean?
Good idea.
Hey, let's do it, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do now? What does day-to-day look like for you?
So, besides being a father, I think being a father has changed everything for me, bro. I mean, being a new father now with your daughter, like it. When my daughter came into this world, bro, I immediately wanted everything great in this world for her. Like it just changed immediately. And so I made some good decisions investment wise while I was playing. Got into some real estate. So I was chilling for a little bit, but I got around some people. I got around some business people, and I'm actually in the process of starting my own private equity firm.
Yes.
Talking to some.
Hey, that's where bees show up. That's where the bees show up there.
Yeah. It's a different language, brother. You know what I mean? So I'm in that process with my agent. I'm also, doing a lot of speaking on the possibilities of doing some broadcasting. But it's just doing different things to provide a life for my kids that I would want to provide them. So. Yeah, we got a lot of projects doing right now.
Do you want to travel or you want to be home with the baby? Because like that NBC, don't they have they have like a weekly game day that travels around.
Yep.
And NBC, I mean, that feels like a natural, right? Doesn't that seem like an easy job there?
Bro, I had so much fun last year. I actually did the broadcasting thing for Notre Dame last year when they played BYU in Vegas. And I did the broadcasting thing for that. And I had a blast.
Who won?
Come on now.
Who won?
Come on now, bro. Like no disrespect to Kyle, freaking, Kyle's the Uso, but I live in Utah now, bro. I'm surrounded by BYU country, but my Notre Dame stuff, I'm in a gym with ND gear. Everybody knows.
Yeah, weren't you though? You were close, right? Wasn't BYU? If the documentary, if I reminded, right? BYU was definitely an option, right?
BYU was in the top 5. Yeah,
we were on the same recruiting trip.
And he said
no?
Yeah, we went on snowmobiles.
That's sweet.
Not enough
fun.
The
snowmobiles.
Not enough fun?
Yeah. No, bro, it was a black. So I had 2 cousins that were at BYU at that time.
Dre, shout out Dre.
Shout out Dre.
Yeah.
Shout out Dre.
Yeah, I had cousins on that team, and, I just felt, I prayed about it, bro. And I felt like Notre Dame, I wanted to go to SC. Everybody knows that. I grew up an SC fan. And so I prayed about my decision, and it kind of covered it in the documentary a little bit. I prayed about my decision, and I felt like, God was telling me to go to Notre Dame, and it was an act of faith for me to go around there. And, honestly, bro, the way that my life has happened, it was meant to be for me to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah, you're getting into private equity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to go. Coach Chuck Pagano, we've obviously waited for this, wanted to say something to you, because he was, just like you sang his praises before the show, he took his glasses off. He was kind of like chewing on them a little bit, put his ears in so he could hear us because he's deaf now. I don't know if you know that. And he was talking great about you. What was he like as a player? I assume you enjoyed the hell out of it.
Unbelievable. Was my hearing gone when you came to us in Chicago?
No, Coach, your hearing wasn't gone at all, because Coach actually scolded me when I did my workout for the Bears. I was real talkative during my workout.
I was telling him when you came in to the tryout, the workout, De Leon was out there and you were just I mean, chirping. I was just like, shut the fuck up and just go through the bags. And then it was like, if we sign you, right? If you come, we sign. You can't say anything. Just shut your mouth. Come in here, learn the defense. But I'm so grateful because, we both finished our career together, coaching and playing. And when you came into the Bears, I mean, Manti earned everybody's respect right from the get-go. The energy you brought, the vibe you brought, the toughness, the enthusiasm. I mean, didn't have any bad days. So I'm very, very grateful for our time together, especially that very, very last play call. You mentioned goal line, the goal line deal earlier. Do you remember, Manti, do you remember the play call on fourth down there in New Orleans?
I think Coach called cover 2, I think it was. I think Coach, you caught. I think there was a situation when Coach called cover 2, and
this on Drew the goal line. This on the goal line. Last play of the defense for us.
Yeah, he caught a cover 2, and I think Danny was like, "No, we ain't doing cover 2, bro. We're gonna check." And I'm looking at Drew, and I think this is when Drew did that little quarterback sneak or whatever. And I got to hit Drew like right on the goal line, and I thought I stopped Drew, but he scored. But it was like a perfect end to the whole football thing. Like having a conversation with Danny Trevathan on the field, like, bro, are we gonna check this? We on the goal line, and Coach calling cover 2. He's like, nah, bro,
that's a lie.
We ain't gonna do this, bro.
I only got to call. 0. Hey, Manti, you sicko. Hey, so awesome. We always had a goal line call. We ran 6-2. Was our deal, and so we always had a deal for 4th and 1 because we knew it was despo, goal line desperation. We sent everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
We sent everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so we went goal line despo. We're going to get Trevathan on the phone too, and see if he can corroborate your story here about throwing me as a damn bus right now. Covered 4th and 1 on the inch line, and we're going to go 2 deep.
Did you hear Chuck in the middle of him telling the story? You're like, we're on the goal line now.
Yeah.
Remember?
So we called despo.
Yeah.
And you go up over the top. Remember, they gave him the touchdown. Then it went to replay.
Yeah.
And they overturned it. It was like,
what a moment!
Hey, this is
it
was
Coach.
It's a great moment.
Sorry,
there it
Coach.
is.
Wow.
There it
Coach.
is.
Look at the drive, Manti. Huh? What do you weigh right now? What do you weigh right now?
Bro, 238, bro.
What'd you play at?
238.
Damn.
Just a little different.
Yeah.
It looks a little different now.
Yeah, Same dude, just different beast, bro. I'm just a little different. I was 295 at New Year's, bro. I was 5 pounds from 300. And I was like, too many crumbles. Like, we got to cut this out.
When was that? When were you 295?
New Year's.
This year?
Yep, January 1st.
Oh, that was your rock bottom. It sounds like that's what got you into the shape that you're in right now.
Yeah, bro. Like my wife said, she was pregnant with our son, and she said after she was done giving birth with him, she wanted to do a fitness show. And so I was like, all right, well, if you're going to do that, I might as well jump on something so that I could, 1, support you, and 2, get back into shape. And my goal was to get back to my playing weight, and just last week I hit it. So we're there right now, brother.
You know who you look like right now?
What?
Roman Reigns. You look like Roman Reigns. You look like Roman right now.
Another Oos, bro.
Hey, Oos is everywhere, dude. You don't really know until you start like looking for it. It's like Oos.
Mm-hmm.
What an island. Obviously terrible what happened in Maui. I don't know if which island are you from, and have you Oahu, have you chatted back with anybody back home about that? We have no idea what the updates is on all that stuff. The Rock, I think, is giving money to people starting this week. That was devastating, man. Devastating
crazy,
stuff.
Bro. Yeah, it's so sad, bro. Like families lost everything. Family members included. Like I can't even begin to like fathom like the stuff that they're going through, bro. Like lost everything within minutes, So, thank you to everybody who's raising awareness. I just, helped with the Chargers. They're doing like a campaign out there, and so I was glad that I was to be, able to be a part of that, and just everybody like you guys, Pat, all around the world. They're just bringing awareness and helping whatever they can. So it's good to see like the world come together on certain things. I think right now society is so split. Like any chance we get to come together as one, I'm grateful for it.
I love those islands, man. Got engaged there. Was supposed to get married there. Anytime I land there, it's like this place is the greatest place on earth. Good people, great people.
Yeah.
And the weather.
Man,
it is perfect. Bud, What a place. What a dream. We appreciate you joining us, man. It was great.
Thank you, bro.
We should tell you one more time, whatever you need to get yourself to South Bend tomorrow and Saturday, we will provide. If there's any opportunity at all, just want to let you know that.
I love you, bro. Thank you, brother.
All right. See you, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, Manti Te'o.
All right,
All right.
That was awesome.
Hey, watch that documentary. It's called Untold on Netflix. AJ, you watched it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a must-watch. No question.
It is a must-watch. And maybe if you didn't stink so bad on that visit to BYU.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Such a prick.
Snowmobiling, you went?
Yeah, yes.
And
They
you
take
sprayed snow all over
They take you
Manta?
snowmobiling when you go. Like, it's pretty dope.
If someone snaps a leg on that, doing that.
I
Why
mean,
are you so negative? What if
Yeah.
somebody gets
I'm
boozed up
just
and rolls
saying,
an
like,
ankle?
yeah.
I mean, what do you want them to do? You want to be bubble boys when they go on recruits?
Yeah, he won't be going to
I'm
BYU.
sure
then.
they are now, though. They don't do anything on recruiting visits anymore, unfortunately.
I know. Did you go on any visits anywhere else?
yep. Colorado and ASU.
Oh, okay. ASU a little bit different, I assume.
ASU, yeah. Lost my wallet.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. Gonna have that. Matt Patricia lost his wallet the night before coming to see us at Radio Row.
Yep.
I assume different reasonings, but
Keys and phone, right?
Maybe.
hey, those recruiting visits back in the day, dude, hilarious. I didn't know what I was signing up
You know who my host was Lawrence Guy.
Oh, Larry.
Larry
You
guy?
lucky
Larry
son of a
was,
bitch.
yeah.
Hey, Larry's a good dude.
Yeah, good dude.
If we were so smart, we let him go.
I mean, he's not the only one. Jerry Hughes.
Oh.
There's numerous.
A lot of good players.
That defensive line could have been real good.
Yeah.
Oh, my
That
God.
defensive line could have been real
What a
good.
good
That
dude.
sucks when you have to think about that, huh?
Nice job, Chuck.
Still making him sick.
No, I'm just saying that I think
How
about
about Lombo?
I think about plays too. Yeah, Lombo.
What was that
yeah,
one about?
Prick, huh?
That was a dick move.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're not the only one. Ryan Leaf
Yeah.
just put a tweet in calling Lombo a clown. Who's the clown on the PMS show is calling Washington State's quarterback Cameron Wade? Come on, man. Put some respect on it. Go Cougs.
Okay, can I?
It's Lombo. Lombo
Did he
gets
say-
no names
That's
right.
his thing.
Did he say something about North Dakota State?
There's a chance. I mean,
He
honestly.
may have.
Probably.
Because I wanted to be like quarterbacks from North Dakota State.
Oh, he's talking about Carson.
Washington State.
Okay. All right, all right.
That's who Cam Ward. He got. Yeah. He just put a D at the end. Or
That's his thing.
Hey, he is impeccable at getting people's names wrong. You just got to use context clues to try to figure out what situation he's talking about. Because whenever you figure out what he's talking about, he's normally right on.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's kind of got a, you know what I mean, AJ? He's kind of got
Shout
a
out to
vibe.
Leaf, though, for,
Micah Parsons, Mikel, or
Mackay.
Michael.
I know.
Everything.
He wants to go by Micah. Like, that's his name. Lombo, that's his name.
He needs
I
to
mean,
get
you're lost.
community noted.
Who? Mike Lombardi?
Yeah.
Hey, community notes are an interesting little thing now.
Oh, yeah.
Who got community noted? Gumpy, I know you had eyes on the internet.
Hate to see it, but ML football unfortunately finally got community noted.
Wow.
No.
What?
Damn shame.
That means they're on the radar now.
Yeah,
I feel like,
you might want to be ready for a lot of those, ML.
yeah, I think there's a chance.
All of them.
We got in the news breaking biz today with our sources that were pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wild scene in Chicago, dude.
Crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sam
AJ.
Hurd involved in this at all?
Yeah, and Peanut.
Didn't we try to, I guess that's all a lie. There's so many. Polis came out today, GM, and was like, there was no raid on Hallis Hall. There's a lot of false narratives going on. I don't know if he went as far as saying Peanut Tillman was not the one that told us that this was coming, even though I get it, he works at the FBI.
I heard someone was running away with a computer and he came from behind it and fucking punched it out.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Was it like
The old Peanut punch came out, yeah.
I love that. Chuck, you remember when you tried to claim
I was gonna, but he's the guy.
Yeah, well.
Pagano punch.
Actually,
I don't-
you. Yeah.
Do you remember when Chuck had to do that?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell do
Last
I know?
year.
But what the hell do I know?
Chuck didn't leave any laptops there, did he?
Jeez. AJ, too
My
soon.
God.
Too soon.
It's not
I'm
funny.
just saying, if they're coming for it.
That's it.
I do have a
That's
question.
it.
What do you think about their team right
That
now?
just always happens in your face, not even a reaction.
Oh, I didn't see it. I blocked.
Oh, went in.
All right. Good
It's
for
your
you.
vibes. You made it happen.
LDS Thursday.
Bingo.
Hey.
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 Heavenly. We believe in heaven, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. That's what we're trying to get to.
Okay.
All right, sweet. I don't know. That's a good question for you because you're more recent in the NFL. I think old school generation doesn't hear as much noise. I think it's easier just to, hey, I need to keep my job. I need to kind of chip away. Now everybody hears everything, right? And
Yeah.
kind of how we talked about that earlier with Coach Saban.
Yeah.
That's real. Everybody hears everything. So what do you think it does? Does it rally? Does it galvanize them or does it go the other way?
I think you're looking at it either way. Could do both.
Legit.
Yeah, I think it's a big distraction though, because everybody. I mean, we're talking about it. Everybody's talking.
Players
about
are talking about it.
Players are talking about it. A coach leaves in the middle of the season for defensive play calling. Like, you're getting a different play caller. Like, there's a lot of things. That's a lot of distractions. And then you have on top of that Justin Fields situation too.
Yeah, you don't normally see Super Bowl champions have this type of stuff.
No.
Like, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, and I know it is just week 3. But it seems like the teams that win somehow find a way not to have these types of things that seem unstoppable. Like, how are the Bears supposed to control what's potentially happening with their defense coordinator at home away from them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't control it, but also winning organizations seem to not have this type of shit happen for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I mean, on the bright side, at least they only have to play the Chiefs this weekend, so it's not.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, it'll be okay.
That was going to be my question to
What was
Kelce.
what do you think? What do you think?
Well, that was going to be my question to him. Was obviously you guys are aware of what's going on, in Chicago. The quarterback, the DC's gone. Eberflus called the last game. Has Andy talked to you guys about this? Because it's a trap deal.
He
all the
mentioned
way.
it a little bit.
No, he mentioned it. And I'm
But he
sure
didn't dive into it.
Andy was going to address him and say, hey, look, the worst thing we could do right now is get caught up in all this shit and figure, okay, these guys are going to implode. They're going to come in here and we're going to cakewalk through this game. You don't know how they're going to respond. So you just focus on and control what you can control, focus on us, and whatever shows up, we got to play our best football.
I think that's the right messaging, but humans being involved. It's tough sometimes. Some teams are able to really.
And they're young.
Yeah.
Very.
Easily distractible.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Tom?
I did just see a video on the internet. It was actually kind of funny. Justin Fields went up to Getsy, and they hugged, and they both waved to the cameras.
Oh, see?
There you go.
Let's go shake their hands,
That's
they
good.
said.
What else are they going to do?
What does that mean?
What's your problem, Chuck?
I mean, Russell Wilson just did this with Seattle, so.
Oh, yeah, in the press conference. Remember he poked his head in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We love each other.
Yeah,
Love
but we
this
knew
guy.
that. We knew that was a lie, though.
Yeah, true.
How long that last?
One more year, and then he left.
Chuck, you weren't always this negative. Don't let what's happening over here affect you today. Okay?
Yeah, the past 2 times, a little bit negative every once in a while. Just want to let you know.
Chuck's a
I love it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really have, but this ain't the same old Chuck.
No.
This is
What are you
brand
talking about?
You're
new Chuck.
You're piss and vinegar.
BNC.
Boom.
BNC.
Oi. Oi.
Hold on. So Zito just gave me a little heads up. I guess today's a massive day for LDS. What happened on this date in 1823? According to the teacher of the church, Moroni was an angel or resurrected.
Moroni.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not Italian.
Moroni was an angel resurrected being who appeared to Joseph Smith on this date in 1823 and instructed him to restore God's church. So LDS Thursday. We knew that.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
I knew that too.
Hell yeah.
I knew that too.
What the hell?
This is one of those things, though, where do you remember the story you told earlier where your brain just kind of thought something? Like, you know what I mean?
I said a lot.
No, you're driving and you pass something and your brain was like, hey.
yeah.
It is weird how the world puts something like LDS Thursday.
Destiny.
Why would?
So do you have to fast today, or?
Yeah, what is the deal? We get
Fast?
presents.
Yeah, presents.
I think we fast for 40 days starting today.
Okay, nice.
Oh, okay, so we're also doing like no sugar, no alcohol,
Nope.
fish on Fridays.
Yeah.
Okay, so
None of
this
that.
is Lent.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, today kind of sucks, and I thought it was Christmas.
Nah, we having a party.
Yeah, we're celebrating
Where you
with
don't
Joe.
eat or drink or do anything fun?
What? Yeah, What are you
talking about?
Look, I'm just asking questions. Is this Christmas or is this 40 days of all the good shit being
This
out?
isn't Christmas, right? Because we still follow Jesus as the guy.
Been a
We
bad
love
influence on me.
You love Christmas.
Love Christmas.
But today is a day where Latter-day Saints was founded.
No, just Moroni.
Yeah, just Moroni.
Sounds like you're not the guy.
Yeah.
Got to the bottom of this.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for LDS
Every
Thursday.
Mormon watches 1 hour worth of clips of Mitt Romney on YouTube to celebrate Moroni, telling Joseph Smith, hey, you got to rebuild the church on earth.
Just real quick, today's a big day. Did you know that?
No.
All right.
Okay.
So it's not that big.
Okay.
Listen to them laughing back.
It's unbelievable.
Dude, it is a big day. It is a big day.
It is a big day.
Yeah.
The universe is just, I mean, that's 3 from my last 3 right there.
Where did Jack Mormon come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. I had to come from Vegas because it's close to Salt Lake.
What's Jack Mormon? What's that?
That was like a guy that went to school.
Not full go.
Danny Ainge was playing basketball there when I was in college.
Love Dan.
1942?
He used to come to Laramie. They'd,
Love Dan.
Louise.
He's called you old.
What?
I didn't say anything.
It's good. I can't hear you.
That's a
Feels
good
like
point.
so. Jack's someone who practices that's one foot in, 1 foot out. Feels like
a Jack
Yeah,
Mormon.
it's like, hey, they go, but they don't follow any of the rules.
That doesn't happen, right? That isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that happens anywhere.
Amish
I think
and
that
Mennonites.
happens with any. Go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Go
he's
ahead.
talking about Amish and Mennonites. That's a good call.
You talking about CEO Catholics?
Yep, a lot of those.
Christmas and Easter
Oh,
only.
yeah.
I think that. I mean, that
those are
shouldn't-
sweet.
For me, I just hate how that is like. How come there's no Jack Catholics or?
Oh, there are.
No, I'm on your side.
You know.
CEOs is what they call them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Church and Easter only.
I would never even. I never heard of that before, but you hear of Mormons. So how come?
So to be clear, as somebody that lives with blinders on, just heard that for the first time. Just heard that for the first time.
Okay.
So I'm pretty biased, I think. On
Yeah.
I will use the CEOs one instead of Jack Mormon.
What about you, AJ? You played with Brady.
Yeah, Brady Papinga was my roommate for 5 years, home and away games and training camp. So
I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I have Pepper. No, he's.
I know.
Man, it was.
He's a great guy.
I have. He is a unique. He's a cartoon character. He is very entertaining, and I asked him 17 billion questions over those years.
I bet. I feel really bad. Sorry, I want to shed light on it. He did lose his son recently.
Yeah.
That was a really sad tragedy, but honestly,
That was within the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, just an
We're on your- hey,
amazing
Brady,
family. Yeah,
positive.
amazing family. Yeah.
Peace and peace.
Awesome family.
That came out of nowhere, right? AJ, didn't you have to, because of obviously your friendship, relationship with him, I think you're the person I heard about it through. That came out of nowhere, right, for Brady and his family?
Oh, it was awful. Yeah. So yeah, high school son, but his daughter actually came to Colorado. I got to give her a hug and talk to her after the show last week because she's a freshman there. So
That's awesome. All right, well, positive vibes to everybody. Let's make some picks now, shall we?
go.
All right, before we get out of here, because we got some stuff to tape afterwards, the New York Giants are kicking off week 3 of the NFL season in Santa Clara this evening, taking on the Niners, who are favored by 10.5. Is that still the right number? It's been this way for the whole week. Monday, this was the number. Thursday, this is the number. Not a lot of movement on the line, which tells us they are who we thought they were, is what the sportsbook's saying. Over under 43.5. Chuck Pagano, we'll start with you, pal. Chuck is currently 1-0. We have a graphic to celebrate this. Yep. Chuck made a pick last Thursday. He picked the Vikings against Philadelphia Eagles. If you remember, they backdoored their way into that thing. You see that? That's the Viking backdoor with you. Oh, yeah. Pumped up about it. Chuck, how do you see tonight going, and what do you got?
Yeah, so these guys were outscored 60-0, okay, before the first 6 quarters of this season, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, so they're down 20-0 at halftime, come out slinging it. Unbelievable comeback, 31 points in the second half. Yeah, again, they're outscored in the first half 46-0, last 2 games.
Jeez.
They've had to stay out west, okay, NFC West, 752 miles from Phoenix, all right, to San Francisco.
Still
all right, they're staying in the NFC West, right? But this isn't Arizona. This is San Fran. I don't know how sleeping in different bed on the road, you can say, hey, camaraderie.
Yeah,
we're on
bowl
the road
game.
together.
It's like a bowl game.
Hey, it's like a bowl game, right? A mini bowl game.
Sounds great.
Those guys are dying to get home right now. Okay.
Negative,
Every time this
negative
thing,
Chuck.
you know, so, and again, I love Dayball, Wink, all that. They're missing their left tackle. They're missing their left guard is out. All right. Saquon, Thies Barkley is out. Breida's back in. He's going to go back to San Fran tonight. Like I said earlier, Danny Dimes going to have to be running around. Waller, Hyatt, take the top off the coverage with Hyatt. But I just don't see him going to San Francisco and being able to pull this thing out, let alone keep it within 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy, Debo, CMC, Kittle, Jennings, Ayuk's hurt. I don't know if he's got a shoulder.
Questionable.
I think he's a tough son of a bitch. I think he'll come back though. He's got the 2 touchdown catches for Purdy. That's his favorite target right now. But they got so much firepower. Nick Bosa, he's got no sacks to this point. He didn't have last 3 games of last year, no sacks. First 2 games this year, we know he was a holdout, no sacks. Now he's going to be on either Evan. He always lines up on the left side, right? So Evan Neal's the right tackle for the Giants. So he's going to be going against Evan. But what if they pick him up and put him over
on the backup,
maybe on 75.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
On the left side.
And then you're thinking,
or put him.
Or he could move to inside too.
And they got, the backup. Glowinski got benched after week 1, so now he's back in there when Ben Breesden, I think is his name,
of course.
President.
Yeah, President.
Yeah, we know.
He went out with a concussion, so Glowinski's back in there. So they're going to move him around. Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Wyoming's finest.
Oh, Cowboy.
Deshaun Gibson,
Tall.
Hafunga.
Oh, Hafunga.
He's got the hair.
Another Oos.
Yeah. Everywhere.
So
Oos is everywhere.
So you like the Niners?
Cordero Ward. Yeah.
Minus 10.5.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of points, and we know, like week 1, Minnesota got that backdoor cover.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's just luck of the draw. But I don't think it's.
How good you feel though whenever it happened? You felt good?
What's that?
When Vikings backdoored, you felt good?
Better than a couple guys on this program.
All right. Oh, okay. All right.
It was a push.
So Chuck likes the Niners minus 10.5.
Yeah, why do you guys have a check mark on push?
Because you go by best line.
Yeah, but you took 6.5. It was 6 or 6.5. So it could have been a push, but we gave you 6.5 because at
you
the
didn't
time.
Lose anything.
No, yeah, well, I could technically say that we pushed, but we were at 6.5 as well, so we certainly lost. But you're 1-0, so you're hot. We believe you till we don't. Kyle, what are your thoughts on tonight's game? You don't have to make a pick against the spread, obviously. Still a player.
Yeah.
Don't want to lead you down that way.
I appreciate that.
Who do you like? How do you like it?
I hear a lot about the injuries and, Brian Daboll is a great coach, but I'm leaning on Christian McCaffrey. I believe he's leading the league in rushing.
You're talking about white
chocolate.
White chocolate. Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
Talking shit, backing it up. I just believe with that O-line led by Trent Williams and Brock Purdy hitting a couple play actions and then that downhill two-back running game that we talked with Lambeau, they were using it. I just believe Christian McCaffrey's going to do his thing.
Lambeau did talk his shit, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He didn't talk about his son's offense, though.
No,
he's pretty quiet.
Well, he has been, too, for a bit. We've noticed. Let's hop in our Lambeau and make these picks, AJ. What do you like? 10.5.
10.5, obviously. I mean, I was sitting here trying to come up with reasons why I like it. I think we all know why I like it. Brock Purdy, absolute stud. I love how poised he is in the pocket. Studs everywhere on the Niners defense. Give me the Niners minus 10.5. I'll take the over as well.
Yeah, so kind of a boring start to week 3 here.
Yeah, I agree.
We're all on the same page. And there's a chance the Giants cover because it's the NFL, it's Thursday night, and it's 10.5 points.
Yeah.
I trust Daboll. I like Wink. We all do. But I don't like him enough to pick him against this Niners team. I feel like the Niners get a big-time dub, and we go into tomorrow in South Bend, all of us celebrating being 1-0.
Hell yeah.
Good for us, everybody. Good for us. Hey, Kyle, thank you for making the trip out here. We appreciate you. We hope you do this more often. Coach, great seeing you. Great chatting with you. We'll see you next week. Tone, great work today. Ty, phenomenal job not having to poop.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. My tummy is a little upset still, but hey, it was a great day.
Upset tummy?
A little bit.
Okay, well, way to battle through and make sure there isn't poopy coming through your upset grumpy. So.
Thank you.
And Connor, what a day today out of you in that cat T-shirt with a sailboat out next to it.
Yeah, thank you. It was a hell of a day. Thursdays are awesome because of the next NFL weeks here. I cannot wait.
Boys in the back, good work.
Hey, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Boys in the back, good work. All right, we didn't take any phone calls. We do apologize. You know what I mean? We'll get you Tuesday.
Yep.
Get you on Tuesday.
We should probably answer. There's a couple people been sitting here. Brandon in Iowa, what's going on, pal? I feel bad.
Hi, Pat. Calling from Iowa City. Shout out, Pat Schmidt.
Hell yeah.
I wanted
Go
to talk
Hawks.
about the Aaron Rodgers contract and the condition about the certain percentages of snaps or the contract gets reworked. Is that normal in the NFL, or is this just because he's Aaron Rodgers, he's kind of old, kind of fragile, and he's getting to the end of his career?
Kind of fragile. Whoa, check the resume, bro. Jeez, Louise, Brandon. I think they reworked it to add in some pieces, and also the percentage thing is for picks.
Yep.
So they'll get a second-round pick, the Green Bay Packers, inevitably get a number 2 for Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Don't want to go back in time where I was getting it on the shins from the Green Bay Packers fans, but, yeah, you get a second-round pick for him. Okay? That's what ended up happening. None of us liked that. We all thought it was going to be a number 1. We all hoped it would be a number 1. We all thought that he would survive the season and be successful because he's not a fragile guy out of Iowa. He's actually an old-school tough guy. But, yeah, that is an interesting little tidbit. How are they going to work the money next year? Is he going to rework it again to open up some more cash? What is the whole thought? TBD, we'll talk to Aaron tomorrow. Maybe we'll have some Maybe we'll bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
I doubt it, though.
Probably not.
I'm probably not going to bring it up.
I don't have to rework it either because
Probably not. Probably not going to bring it up.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, there's a chance. you know,
Maybe.
if The Rock dumps a third of a bottle of tequila in our cups.
Yeah, maybe.
True.
Did you see him? He got us fucked up, Chuck. Didn't you knew The Rock, right, from back in the Miami days?
Yeah, I knew. I wish I would have made that trip.
Yeah, it's your hometown with The Rock there. Him pouring tequila all over the city. Jeez, it was awesome.
Great time.
Then I'm interviewing Aaron.
Another oos.
Another oos.
It is. Ooses are everywhere, dude.
They are.
The oos.
What a day.
Well, Roman's not going to like what you just said.
Yeah, well, Roman would be wrong.
I think Roman knows.
He does.
Whoa!
Knows he's the ooze.
Let's go to Allie in South Carolina. Allie, what's going on?
Hey, boys. How you doing?
Fantastic. Keep it moving. What's up, Allie?
Good. So I called a few months ago because I had a question for Tone, and I was just wondering if maybe his opinion has changed. So I'm going to rephrase it a little bit.
Okay.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, how optimistic can you possibly be with Matt Canada as the Steelers' offensive coordinator?
This isn't golf. 1 is least excited, and 10 is most optimistic.
10 is most optimistic, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Tone, where are you at there, pal?
About a 4.
Not bad. Not bad, Allie. Where are you at, Allie?
I'm in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay, how about 1 to 10, optimism-wise? I do appreciate that.
If we don't fire him mid-season, I'm at a 3.
Oh, okay. All right, she's at a 3.
A little bit less than me.
Yeah, a little bit less than Tone. Greenville, South Carolina.
He came out today
Wonderful
and
play.
gave a strong vote of confidence for himself. And
What'd he
of course,
say?
He said, we're going to get it fixed.
Hey, really?
Gotta love that.
He kind of looks like Big Ben.
Gotta believe him.
He doesn't look like Big Ben.
Here's Sammy in BYU on this LDS Thursday. What's going on, Sammy?
Pat, buddy, let's raise the odds on this Thursday and get 3 LDS on here, man. You got 3 out of 3, buddy.
Hey, we did it. I'm telling you, people think we're cultured.
Yeah.
We are super cultured. Super
You know what?
deep.
I respect it. And you know what? You've been all about it today. You got I can hear them coming from the mountains, man. They're screaming. Rise and shout. The Pat McAfee Show is out, baby.
Oh, respect. I like it. We got bars over there in the LDS community. I didn't know that. Hey, I do have a question for you because you're the only one that would know this, and Kyle refuses to give us a straight answer. Hey, I could probably make a pretty good penny over there on the BYU campus if I was to be on the lower bunk of a bunk bed while people are soaking and I'm doing the quaking with my legs kind of underneath. Is that an accurate statement or no?
Listen, Pat, man, I'm not going to speak too much on what my friends like to do, but I am going to say after that Arkansas game, I saw quite a few mattresses outside in the trash. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, they getting beat up from the bottom and top.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Sammy. We appreciate that. All right, that wraps up LDS Thursday.
Hell yeah.
All right, we appreciate you all so much. We're all on the Niners tonight. Kind of scares me a little bit. Tone, where are you at?
Team total over for the Niners is 27.5.
Not picking. Smart.
No, I picked Niners over 27.5.
Okay, Tone. I respect it. He's got a record.
He does.
It's one of the 4 pillars of his life.
Amen.
His gambling record. So he doesn't want to pick a game he doesn't have to. Do you think you're more likely or inclined to pick Niners minus 10.5 or Giants?
Yeah, Niners.
We're all on it.
Yeah. 75% is on it.
Doesn't this feel too obvious?
Yeah, sometimes
they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes they give you one.
Throw in a little Kyle Juszczyk touchdown.
Why not?
Because Wink's going to sell out against McCaffrey.
You're right. And then Juszczyk, whoop, right underneath.
Quick little flip.
Here we go. All right. Be a friend. Tell a friend something nice that might change their life. Shout out to Manti Te'o for joining us. Travis Kelce, Nick Saban, Lombo.
Yep.
That was uncalled for.
Hate.
Shame. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.